What's going on? I am Nando.
And it's me, Diggins.
And this is Mostly Nitpicking, a podcast where every week we pick apart a piece of pop culture by looking exclusively at the details. Woohoo! This week,
Magnifico.
we're doing a movie that has nothing to do. We got a gap week, people. So we picked a movie that we've said the name of a couple times and decided to watch that. No, this is not Father Stew. It's the other one. Although they could cross over now that I think about it.
Not to give it away too much, but this movie ends in a way where you could see the protagonist going to recruit Father Stew as part of their new mission.
The Avengers of these guys? Yeah, yes. For sure. The only thing I don't know, because Father Stew is also a true story, like, right? I think?
Insofar as these are based on people who existed.
Sure.
Yeah, insofar as this one's a true story, yes.
Right. So Father Stew and whatever this guy's name is could have potentially met, although I don't know, because I know this guy died sometime in the 2000s, and I don't know what Father Stew's timeline is.
2016, this guy died.
Oh, okay. Then I probably, unless Father Stew is a little baby, or it takes place in the far future, then yeah, they totally could have been at like a, church together or whatever it is these people do. I don't know, or boxing match. This guy seems like the kind of guy. Father Gabriel feels like he'd go to a boxing match or something.
Oh, hell yeah.
Cage fighting for fun. Yeah. So I don't know if that's what Father Stew is about, but he seems like the kind of guy that would also go to one, if not participate. We didn't.
He could punch the demon that's being exorcised with his boxing skills.
That's true. Yeah.
Well, and because when they do the Avengers, every person has to have a skill, and Father Stew's skill would be punching. So, yeah.
Yeah, it'd be kind of like how, when you really get into it, 7 or 8 Avengers are just punching. And, if you had to, I don't know, just for the sake of argument, give one person the superpowers of all of the Avengers, sometimes they could punch with a different hand than the other hand. And, you'd be like, this is still just punching. They should do Hulk all the time. Why are we switching to Drax? What's the value here?
I'm really trying to flesh out this Avengers, and the one who they would need to have, and this might be their Captain America. Do you guys remember the movie Priest with Paul Bettany?
Priest? No, that's not the one with the angels that are I want to say there's a movie called Legion, and no, I don't think so. I've never seen Priest.
Yeah, it was I think this came out when we were in college or high school maybe, but it was Paul Bettany was this fucking ninja priest who his little crosses turn into shurikens.
Oh yeah, this is a comic book too, right? I think.
Oh, probably. Seems like what this would be based off of.
I was thinking of Legion, a movie where Paul Bettany plays an evil angel, probably from around the same time frame.
Oh,
I knew he was in some sort of weird religious movie.
He really had a niche there for a bit.
Well, because now that I think about it, isn't he also who's the priest or the weird monk in the Da Vinci Code movie?
Oh yeah,
one of those scraggly white guys. It's him or the other one that I always confuse him with. It's Jude Law or Paul Bettany.
Yeah, he'd be great for this team.
Yeah.
I think they should get Meryl Streep and Amy Adams as the nuns from Doubt.
Oh my God, yes. I forgot about them.
Yo, Universal, whoever has the rights to all this crap, make this movie. Just make it.
Yeah, now I'm looking at I'm gonna Google this. Cause I'm not positive Priest isn't based on a real guy. But I'm going to take a wild guess and say that's not a real guy.
It's based on the real warrior priest from the Human Vampire Wars.
That guy. I could see that also being a story about this character from this movie and them also just making shit up. But
True.
But yeah, I'm going to take a guess and say it's not that guy. So I don't know. I'm trying to think of ones with real priests. I don't know. Spotlight? What's a movie where there's an actual
I don't think
priest
they want
that existed
the
in the real world? Well, he could be the bad guy or something. He could be the Loki of these guys. I don't know.
Guys, obviously their number one recruit would be the young Pope.
Oh my God, yeah. Or the two popes. We have
the two
both
popes.
popes. Yeah, they got to work together.
also, I know the God's Not Dead movies originally are about a college or something. I feel like eventually they become about a church. And that's probably also a real guy because those are always very loosely based on some like court case that they really dramatically mischaracterize to make the secular people the villains.
Actually, I
So
think
those
if you
guys
go
could
back
totally
and
be in
read the court records, in those cases, the secular person usually is saying, I want this not to happen because I hate God and Christians and think that all kids should be taught about Satan in our schools.
Absolutely.
Oh my God.
It's only fair. So, and there's, what, to be fair, there are a handful of these movies too, where it's a story of an exorcism that technically happened that they just make up stuff and turn it into a silly horror movie. I want to say,
That's
The
a proud
Exorcist-
tradition of these ever since The Exorcist. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. So I bet you could find a lot of those guys, and rope them into this, but well, we'll get to it. Because before that, speaking of things that'll make you question your faith in God and religion, we have two newses this week, and a
Whoa.
holdover news, but we'll do the two newses first because they're so crazy. First one, I don't know if you guys saw this. Well, you know what? I'll start with the other one because it's more it's fun. It's lighter. Did you guys remember that Bill Maher was going to come back and now he's not?
Yeah.
Who got to him? Which fucking pro union muscle man got to Bill Maher and said, "Listen, you scrawny piece of shit." The same person must have got to Drew Barrymore, right? Because they both about faced.
Yeah,
I think they broke their kneecaps with a tire iron.
I think it was Demi Moore, the villain from one of the Charlie's Angel movies, came first to Drew Barrymore, from a hero from the Charlie's Angel movies, and then to Bill Maher, someone who's probably seen the Charlie's Angels movie and probably saw the original Charlie's Angels series. He is an older man, and that was enough to, scare good behavior into him. But yeah, we never even got to celebrate on this podcast that Bill Maher was coming back. Because by the time we did our podcast, he was gone.
Yep.
So
Gone but not forgotten.
Tell people that you love them. You never know, if Bill Maher's show is going to be on or not when you go and record your podcast. Like, things happen quickly.
You can always go listen to his podcast where he gets owned by people asking basic factual questions.
Yes, Club Random, the podcast where they film it, but 2 or 3 of the angles don't really frame anybody super well. But it's so boring that they really have to edit as much as they possibly can to make it watchable. And it's like, it's like this thing is recorded with, it's like Bill doesn't tell the guests about the podcast and has to hide some cameras in some really weird places. That's the only explanation for some of these angles. But yeah, what'd you guys think of Bill's decision? Either one.
Yeah, well, the idea to come back and it was just going to be a panel show, right? No new rules, no monologue, none of the written stuff. It would just be a panel interview show. I don't know. I assume even his writers do a lot of prep work him for that. So I'm assuming he was just trying to do some rah-rah to try and be yeah, I got to do my counter whatever thing. And honestly, I found the about face shocking. Not for Drew Barrymore. She seems someone who's very pliable and someone could just sit her down and she'll be okay, I won't do it. But him, I'm legitimately shocked he did the about face.
Yeah, I feel like with him, what about you, Diggins? What do you think of the Bill Maher situation?
I think it's a tragedy that we've been deprived of Bill Maher without writers. I think this had the potential to be the funniest thing that ever happened.
Yeah.
And I'm sad that we don't get to see it.
I feel like it wouldn't be worth actually being a scab, but if anybody could scab once and get away with it or something, give him a monologue that when played backwards is him saying something really funny, and he'd never question it because I'm sure he doesn't. But yeah, there's some opportunities for a go fuck yourself San Diego moment from Bill Maher, just reading a teleprompter he's never seen before. I think he wanted, part of me wonders if there was some event besides the strike that he really wanted to comment on, besides his comments about the strike, wanting to do a new rules about it where he could have writers explain why he's actually right. Because he went on Club Random with Jim Gaffigan and made a fool of himself. But speaking of real life Catholics, he can join the Avengers of these guys.
Oh hell yes!
He did.
Hell yes.
He's the Pope's comedian. He opened for the Pope in Philly when the Pope came to Philadelphia. So yeah, he could totally be in this.
He's our Catholic hero. Like,
yeah,
he's the one where it's like, oh, Catholicism sucks. It's like, well, Jim Gaffigan is Catholic and he's cool. So.
Yeah,
he did that Hot Pockets bit like 2 decades ago. Remember that?
Yep.
It's Jim Gaffigan, Daredevil, and
me probably
you.
I'll be out there as a Catholic hero,
and the Pope's Exorcist,
and the Pope's Exorcist. Yeah, and that was when I would like to believe Father Gabriel probably had a good laugh at that Hot Pockets bit. I think he enjoyed it because, as we know, while the devil may say things that are sometimes funny, he does not like comedy.
Right.
So yeah, they should have gotten Jim Gaffigan. Honestly, he would have been able to wrap this exorcism up in half hour. But
God.
Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, I wonder if Bill Maher just saw some like one of the. Oh, I wonder if Bill Maher got a call from frequent guest Russell Brand or something like that. Was like, you gotta get me on. I gotta plead my case, Bill, or something. Other free thinkers out there, but he I bet he just saw that guy complaining about pronouns in video games and was like, this man needs a champion. I need to get out there and defend this poor soul. But then the decision to come back, I think, is much fun, or not come back is much funnier. Have either of you guys read his statement?
Like he said, because I'm paraphrasing here, I think, but initially neither side was even talking. So he's like, this is stupid. I have to come back. He's like, well, now that they're talking, I'm going to wait to see what happens. Like it almost seemed like in the statement, he's open to coming back if it goes sour again. Like he's leaving himself so much rope.
Yeah. That because he doesn't have any opinions or like any,
right.
Yeah. He believes nothing. It was that he says basically like, because it seemed like the strike was going to go on for a long time, I was going to bring my show back. But now that it seems like it might be a shorter strike, that it might be over soon, I will wait, which is basically the equivalent of being like, when I thought it would be hard to sacrifice, when I thought it would be difficult for me, I didn't want to do it. But when it became easier for me, then I thought maybe this is worth it. He's a hero. I don't know.
I don't know. So do you guys think, let's say, I mean, I don't know how long this strike, no one knows how long this strike's going to keep going on for.
No, apparently there were some talks that started up today. I don't know if we've heard much about him, but there's maybe a good sign. I don't know.
Maybe this will not be evergreen then, and this will be relevant by the time you guys hear it. But let's say this strike goes into like November. Like, is there a chance that like maybe around the mid-October time frame, let's say like 3 weeks from now, Bill Maher goes, I'm actually coming back.
Yes.
Like the about face.
If someone he likes tells him he should, then I think he will. Mm-hmm. If he gets like a go ahead, it's very easy to convince Bill Maher of one thing or another. So I do think if someone near him is like, you should do your show, he's like, you know what, I should, and then he'll do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, we should be so lucky. I don't know, because like I'm pretty sure all of them. Well, also the other thing is someone else has to do it first, so it can be slightly easier for him. He can't be the only person doing it.
Oh my God! Did Drew Barrymore give him the permission structure to do it?
100%. Yes, absolutely. He would never be the first person to do something like this. He's too cowardly. So the fact that Drew Barrymore was getting in some trouble for it made him totally more popular, or like more of an idea he wanted to do.
Okay.
And I don't think he can sit with other people being getting attention, being the main character of the thing. So when other talk show hosts like Drew Barrymore, or in other cases like Jimmy Fallon and stuff, were getting lots of attention, I'm sure he was like, why aren't people mad at me for abusing my staff and making everyone feel uncomfortable on my show? And
right. He
just had to get in there. But yeah, we'll see. I don't know. Knock on wood. Maybe it will be over soon. And then we can hear, what will we? I don't even know. It'll be great. What maybe we'll hear about is the second news of the week. Is this actually bad news of the week? Have any of you guys heard the Quibi news?
No.
Yes.
Don't get me excited.
I just said it's bad news. Well, okay. I mean, excited works both ways, I guess.
I hear Quibi and I'm like,
That's true. Yeah.
Fair.
The blood immediately rushes down river.
So, we go 6 to midnight, like immediately.
We go L, but a block immediately, as far as I'm concerned. Which we didn't even talk about. Someone brought up. We didn't even mention that during our Gran Turismo episode, was who would win in the fight between, Elba Block and Jan.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But The thing that I was going to mention that someone pointed out on the Discord is that Quibi removed a lot of its Roku removed a lot, not all of its Quibi content.
Those bastards.
The Most Dangerous Game, which we've done on the podcast, both seasons gone.
Guys, we might now be the only people on Earth who've watched both Most Dangerous Game movies.
I mean, but like, why is it gone? Was it royalties that they don't want to pay Christoph Waltz and the guy from Umbrella Academy, like,
Yeah,
or the Hemsworth from the first one?
Could we get enough capital somehow, maybe a GoFundMe, to buy it? Like, we could own it.
DJ, if they were demanding more than $20 for those rights, I would walk away.
Very good, Diggins. Negotiate in public. Very good. They don't even know we'll do it for 40. They come to us with that offer. I just don't know what happened. Like all that great stuff. Like Elba B Block is another one gone apparently. I think like Chrissy's Court and Kevin Hart's movie thing. Those are still there. I don't know about the rest of them. I saw in an article there was no great reason for this besides they wanted to get rid of some of the stuff. But
besides that, HBO showed that, or WB proved that you could just do this, and now everyone's like, "Wait, we can?" And so they just keep doing it.
Well, this isn't the news of the week or anything, but did you guys see, DJ? Do you still watch Winning Time, or did you still watch Winning Time?
I didn't watch season 2 because I didn't have time, but I did see the news.
Yeah, they pulled that show, and right as the second season ended on a big Lakers loss. That definitely was going to lead into a third season, but also it ends with like a kind of, like 80s movie kind of thing where it's like, and then, this basketball player went on to do this, this, and this as words on screen. And then like it really, really clunkily wraps up all of their storylines. So,
yeah, I mean, guys, I'm so annoyed because now we're never going to know how the 1985 NBA Finals ended.
Yeah.
It's probably one of the greatest cliffhangers in TV history, and we're not going to know how that ends.
We should see if like they can...
time.
They should do a Kickstarter for like a graphic novel so that they could at least finish telling that story. Because, it's a real bummer. It's like that show, speaking of Drew Barrymore, that zombie show that I loved that just ends on an insane cliffhanger, and we'll never know if her husband was a vampire or zombie or whatever or not. But
I honestly like there's so many things that could be that I don't even know which one you're talking about.
It's called, I just remembered it, the Santa Clarita Diet. I think that show is quite good, and a lot of the people from it was the first time I was like Timothy, what's his name, the cowboy man from Justified, Timothy Olyphant. It was the first time I was like, oh, this guy's funny. He's like, he's good. But then it also has that guy Skylar, whatever his name is. I can never remember his last name. But from like Righteous Gemstones and stuff, who is also great on that show. Skylar Gisondo, there you go. Who might be in the running for what's his name? For Jimmy Olsen. I think he'd be a great choice for that character. Yeah, we'll see. But anyway, so no more Quibi. Even its ghost is dead. So sad.
Jerks.
Speaking of ghosts, third news of the week, the news update, I guess. The Beetlejuice gate has only gotten wackier and zanier, much like Beetlejuice himself, as time has gone on. Do either of you guys want to explain this one to the fine people who don't know what we're talking about?
I mean, I do not want to explain this at all. I don't even know how this is in our purview, except that it's hilarious.
I mean, we saw this story and I was like, oh, Beetlejuice. We've all seen this musical. Let's mention it because it's kind of funny. And then it got way more interesting and somewhat relevant. Diggins, how about you? Do you want to explain the Beetlejuice gate to the fine people?
I would love to do that, Nando.
Nice.
Last week we may have mentioned to you fine listeners out there that Congresswoman Lauren Boebert, known for her intelligence, clear thinking, and just general even-handedness, was kicked out of a production of Beetlejuice in, was it Denver?
Yeah, somewhere in Colorado or whatever, but I think it was Denver.
And we made some jokes about how it's because she was vaping or because the Beetlejuice actor was heckling her or something like that. But dear listener, the real reason turned out to be far funnier than we could possibly have imagined. And not only do we get to hear about it, we got to see it thanks to night vision security camera, I guess.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible. You're being watched at all times. Never forget it. We live in a panopticon.
Don't try to pirate the Beetlejuice musical, you guys. It's touring. It's on its way to Colorado, but like, if its spoilers get out, it might destroy the whole thing. So yeah, you got to make sure everything's pretty tight on that. Or maybe you ever seen those trailers that they'll do for like Paranormal Activity or something, where they'll have a video of the audience reacting, being scared, and they'll put that in the trailer as like, you can't even believe how scary this movie is. Maybe that's what they were trying to get, but for Beetlejuice.
Yeah,
because it's a ghost thing.
Audiences love Beetlejuice.
Yeah, you'll never believe how much audiences love Beetlejuice. Zoom in.
But yeah, in fact, it shows the video of this, and they're like, they're horny for this one. Because what was happening, dear listeners, is at this production of Beetlejuice, Lauren Boebert and her date, who owns a bunch of like drag clubs or something.
He owns a bar that does drag shows or has some sort of drag event. Yeah, so
he's woke. Lauren Boebert's with a woke guy.
Yeah, that was the real scandal here, not the fact that in the middle of the show they started groping each other all over. You can watch him clumsily swish his hand back and forth across her breasts.
Yeah, like a certain child from a movie we just all saw, which we'll get to. But yeah, it's so weird. And she goes for she also makes a move very bravely during the Beetlejuice. Yeah,
she goes right for the snake, if you will.
Yeah,
from 6 to midnight.
Or sorry, no, they call it a worm.
That's right. They're sandworms. Yeah,
sandworm. She was right for the sandworm.
Because Dune and Tremors, I guess, were really happening at that time. Was it 1986, 89? Oh, it was 87 when Beetlejuice came out. I think that was after Dune. But yeah, the because we've all seen this musical, right? I think I just mentioned that.
Yeah.
Where do you think they were in the musical? The Dead Mom song?
Had to be the first act. I feel like it slows in the second, so like you're really amped in the first act. Also, I don't feel like if you're doing that, you want to wait. You want to get to it, unless they were drinking, and then maybe like that's what let all the inhibitions go. But like I feel like you just want to go for it.
Well, now you see that, you say that, DJ, but and that's logical. You're probably correct, but we cannot dismiss the possibility that they got really amped up when the child marriage plot really kicked into gear.
That's right. Yeah. The old husband song or whatever it is. That's
creepy
probably
old guy. Yeah.
Creepy old guy. Right. Yeah. There you go. Yeah. Cause they love that stuff. It's yeah. I don't know if we know that. I don't know if they've said if Beetlejuice has released the track specifically where this was happening, but I haven't watched. By the way, I haven't watched all the video because they've released the big video and then they zoomed it into them. We don't know if everybody on the audience is doing that. Like it's Walk Hard or something. That scene where like Dewey Cox activates the sexuality of all the children, or I guess the Elvis movie that does that. You know, without being a parody, but
yeah.
Yeah, this might have been a thing. Like, I don't know, is Colorado really sexually repressed or something? And just the mere thought of Beetlejuice, a man in a suit jumping around, was enough to get everybody going?
I don't know. They have all that weed. They would be so mellow.
They were one of the first places with that legal weed, so I don't know.
That's true. But then on the other hand, they got her. So, you know, there's some real exciting folks in Colorado, I guess. Although she just almost lost, right? Wasn't her election that just
like
happened?
500 votes. It was super close.
Do you think this will hurt her popularity or help it?
I don't think anyone cares.
You think they're all over to John Fetterman's body double / wear shorts story? The big political story of our lifetime.
Give me a white Shrek.
Yeah.
No, like this isn't going to be in a campaign ad. Look what Congresswoman Lauren Boebert did at a production of Beetlejuice, and just show the fucking footage. Like,
I'm not sure you're legally allowed to air that on a commercial.
But can't you, like, if you're running against her, can you use like the
hire actors to like simulate what happened?
I'm thinking, like, what's the song from Beetlejuice that they go crazy for halfway through? The real life song.
The like,
it's the like
Tally me,
yes,
bananas?
yeah, whatever that song is called. Jump in the line or whatever. Can you make that like your walk-on song as a thing just to fuck with her? Can you fill the audience at a debate with people in a Beetlejuice costume and just start the debate with, by the way, Lauren, I just want to, let's all keep it in our pants, okay? I know we got some Beetlejuices here, but let's take this seriously. This is a debate. Like, I don't know. I think there's some fun to be had at the expense. But yeah, it's pretty weird.
Ugh.
But like I said, speaking of really weird groping, grabbing a boob scenes and stuff, we got to talk about our movie of the week, The Pope's Exorcist.
Oh my gosh.
2023 is The Pope's Exorcist, you guys. Why did we do this one?
Because I wanted it so bad.
And what I'm waiting for, well, I'll wait for it, but there is a thing that Diggins, I think, posted about that I could not find, but I'm like fascinated if it is in fact in this movie regarding a certain video game franchise, but we'll get there.
I mean, it must be, right?
I don't even know what you're talking about, so this is going to be very exciting.
I might have posted about this, or someone else might have. I know what you're talking about. Okay, I've definitely seen the story.
Sorry.
I'm not discounting the possibility that I said something that I don't remember.
We'll get there, hopefully.
Yeah, we will get there.
If one of us knows what we're talking
about.
Oh,
wait, I remember what you're saying. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
It's not that Russell Crowe is taking over as Mario from Charles Martinet. That hasn't been released yet, right? Am I dropping that as a spoiler?
Yeah, Nando, when Nintendo emailed us, they said this was still under embargo.
Damn it. We should have. Well, I'll edit this out if I can remember to.
Yeah, good idea.
Yeah. We got to talk. We'll get to that because I don't want to look it up. But I'll look it up later because I'm curious about the other video game connection in this movie. Yeah. But I think the title alone was enough to pique my interest when I heard about it. I was like, oh my God. Mm-hmm. This is fascinating. Almost unlike the title that fucking Liam Neeson sits in a car movie. This gives me everything I need to know. Like, this is an incredible title.
I think the thing that got me interested in this movie right away was when I saw the trailer and the like tagline was like, what would happen if the devil possessed the Pope's Exorcist?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a real movie. Some people saw it. I don't know if it was a huge hit, or even remotely a hit. But it was this was before Barbenheimer, so I wonder if they could have Barbenheimered this with like, Spider-Verse or something if they were really clever.
Should've.
Yeah,
foolish of them not to.
But yeah, let's talk about The Pope's Exorcist. Diggins, I think you're the IMDb'sman this week, correct?
That is true. I am the IMDb'sman. Now, if you are a first-time listener to this podcast, well, if we haven't driven you away already, which frankly seems impossible to me.
Yeah, we're sorry, Lauren Boebert. Come back, please. We won't talk about Beetlejuice anymore.
But we play a little game here called the IMDb, B as in spelling bee, where my two esteemed co-hosts have to guess what the IMDb summary for this movie is. Now, you might be asking yourself, where do those IMDb summaries come from? Well, I'll tell you. Deep, deep in the darkest, slimiest bog on Earth, there is a small cottage. It looks like a cozy little, like wonderful homey place, like with a kindly old grandma making a delicious smelling stew, and they have to IMDb.com has to send their interns there, which of course means they have to brave the dangers of the bog, the quicksand, the alligators, the reanimated corpses of those who have drowned in its peat, all that sort of thing. And if they make it to the cottage with the kindly old woman, they must not go in the basement. They must not eat the stew. And they must always be kind and respectful. And if they do all three of those things, then at the end of a lovely tea time chat with the kindly old woman, they are given a box. The box, no one knows exactly what's in the box, because the intern has to bring the box back to IMDb.com headquarters, where they go into a hermetically sealed room and open the box. Then when they come out, the box is no longer there, and they are forever changed. There is a madness in their eyes, that a distance. They will never know peace or love ever again. But they do know a bunch of summaries for movies, which they then tell all the other people at IMDb, and they put them on the website. Now, I have the Witch's Curse IMDb summary for The Pope's Exorcist right here before me. And a little hint for my two co-hosts here. It's phrased as a command to the reader.
Oh, what?
Oh,
It's not really a command, but it's telling the reader to do something.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
I want DJ to go first because I
All right.
have to really think about that.
Okay.
I was not prepared.
Okay, let's do this. Okay. Prepare for the exhilarating story of Gabriella. Please don't ding me on the name.
If Nando gets it right, you don't, then I absolutely will ding you.
Oh, come on.
I mean, I know it's not Gabriella, I think. Or is it Gabriella?
Well, if you go with the Italian, like Gabriella.
Yeah, I guess that's true. By the
I-
end,
I-
I feel like they give up on that and just start calling him Gabriel. But I can't remember.
They switch back and forth.
Yeah,
it's
I don't
kinda
remember his
silly.
last name, so you're not going to get that out of me. Don't worry.
Well, all right, let me go back because prepare for the story of Father Gabriella, the Pope's exorcist, as he faces his toughest challenge yet to exorcise a powerful demon who has possessed a small child. Who has possessed a small child. Period. Go.
Okay. All right.
Interesting. Oh man, there's two roads before me. I'm gonna go with
Take the one less traveled by. That's what Robert
Take
Frost
the
would tell
worst
you.
one.
Yeah, but how many IMDb summaries did Robert Frost win? You know, like I'll take advice from people that win, but I'm not just taking advice from any poet. I'll say this. I'm gonna say believe the true story of Father Gabriella, whoever is supposed to be pronouncing this, a priest who performed many exorcisms, and I'm going to say, yeah, believe in the thing, a priest who, after a lifetime of performing exorcisms, comes face to face with a real demon when he meets a American family that just traveled to Spain. Also, I'm going to add that he's the Pope's. Exorcisms on behalf of the Pope.
Okay.
Okay. You both did a pretty bad job.
Damn it. We always do. What's new?
Yeah.
But fortunately, I have a tiebreaker ready.
Oh my God. Okay.
It's a fun one.
Oh, okay.
By May 2013. So, okay. This movie is based on a real guy.
Yeah.
Gabriella Amorta.
Amorta.
Amort. It's just Amorth. I'm saying it with an Italian accent.
Okay.
What was the other priest's name?
Oh,
Tomas something?
yeah.
The other guy was Spanish.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not that I think there. For a second, I thought his name was Gabriel too. I can't remember. It doesn't matter. I'll look this up in a second.
Tomas Esquivel.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, maybe someone was just screaming it and I'm like Eskimo, and now you're like, is that Gabriel? They gotta be more specific. I gotta pick different name popes next time, or Pope's exorcists, obviously.
Father Gabriel Amort claimed to have performed many exorcisms over the course of his career. The last time I have figures for is when he said in May 2013 he said he had performed a certain number of exorcisms in the course of his ministry. Can either of you give me the number that he claimed?
Okay, I have a question, and I went first, so I'll just okay. Is it in the movie?
No, this is just pure guesswork.
Well, I feel bad because I think I know the answer. So do I? Well, all right. I think the number is 50,000.
Oh my God. I was going to say like 150. How many exorcisms per day would he have to be performing? I mean, I believe you. Like, if that's in the movie, that's in the movie. But like, he's a 70-year-old man, maybe at the time of his death, something like that. Well, I guess he fought in World War II or something.
Yeah.
So he was 91 when he died in 2016.
Okay, so you said how many, DJ? 15,000?
I said 50,000.
50,000.
Hilarious
Okay,
if I'm wrong.
so 50,000 divided by, you'd say 100, is what? 100? 500 a year?
5,000 a year.
5,000 a year? So
no,
that's
500.
what?
It
is 500.
It is 500.
But that's more than one per day. Yeah, that's so
Yeah.
many. I figured he got like maybe 3 a year. But I'm not discounting. You might be right, because maybe you do a lot, you go to an orphanage and
like really
everybody
dumb now.
needs an exorcism. But yeah, I'm going to say 150. I'm sticking with what I was going to say.
Okay. Well, Nando, I have good news.
Yeah.
Oh.
You remained in the realm of logic, which speaks well to your intelligence. However, DJ remained in the realm of wild claims a crazy man makes, because he said he had performed 160,000 exorcisms in his life.
Wow. Okay, wait. So we said he's 91, and he said 160,000.
Yeah.
So that is 1,758, and say 1,750 per year, which means by 365, it's almost 5 a day. When would he even have time to scooter around and enjoy a nice gelato or whatever? And
doing it for you did his entire age, not like from when he started.
What would what would the 6 degrees of separation be? We would all have to know one of these people who got exercised by this guy. 150,000.
160,000.
So furthermore, I don't know where I got the 50,000 number from. I could have sworn it was in the movie that at the end it's like Father Gabriele Amort had performed over 50,000. Like I could have sworn, because I don't think I did research. Maybe I googled the guy, but like I remember seeing the 50,000.
Maybe it's
50,000. He claimed it was 50,000. By 2013, it had become 160,000.
I don't even think there's that many demons.
Wait a minute. So in 13 years, he tacked on another 110,000?
That's incredible.
He went to work.
Something about Y2K. I don't know. It really, or like the Matrix. I don't know what it was culturally that let the demons.
He definitely went into a village one day, and it's like, oh, everything's weird here. And he did like a big exorcism in town square, and he's like, there's 2,000. Boom, right there. There's 2,000.
Well, DJ, actually, you're not far off.
Oh, God.
Because when pressed on these numbers, he did provide some explanations, which were, he did a few over the years. One is that people are possessed by more than one demon at once, sometimes numbering in the thousands.
Oh, God.
Oh my God! Who are these? I guess the Pope would be one of them that would maybe get the attention of that many demons. Does that exorcism take one day, or is that like a year-long exorcism?
Also, he claims that an exorcism is just the act of like reading a prayer during the attempting to solve a possession. So one possession case can have multiple exorcisms in it. Is another thing he would say.
So any of us can do an exorcism. No success is necessary in the exorcism. You don't have to exorcise the demon. You just have to attempt to exorcise the demon. It's insane.
He also said that the high number of exorcisms he's performed is because people have lost the faith and superstition, magic, Satanism, or Ouija boards have taken its place, which then open all the doors to the presence of demons.
Hell yeah.
So
Hell yeah.
the Matrix isn't fully to blame, but it definitely didn't help.
Yep.
I mean,
Oh
wow.
my gosh. So he does in this movie, I guess by his own definition, like 100 exorcisms.
Yeah, he
whatever,
does a
in this
ton of
movie
them.
alone.
Is every word in the prayer can be on its own exorcism? Like, if he does a whole prayer, does the Our Father, and just ends with like 15 amens, does that mean it's 15 exorcisms? Like, where do you draw the line? This guy, I don't know. I think the cardinals and the popes and stuff need to convene and look at these numbers, because he needs a big asterisk in the Pope Exorcism Hall of Fame. I think somebody's been juicing.
Ugh.
Oh my God. That mean I have to fucking summarize this one. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Honestly, Nando, I think it's. Oh, right.
Before you summarize it, let me tell you what the actual IMDb summary is. Which, if it makes you feel any better, Nando, if gun to my head, I had to pick one of you to win this, I probably would have picked DJ. Follow Gabriel Lamont, the Vatican's leading exorcist, as he investigates the possession of a child and uncovers a conspiracy the Vatican has tried to keep secret.
Oh, yeah, I forgot to mention that.
None of you mentioned the conspiracy. That would have locked it in for you.
Yeah, that would have been huge.
That felt like that was too late game of a reveal. Like,
Right?
they wouldn't want to spoil that, but maybe they need to
Exactly.
get
So
asses in
interesting.
seats.
Nando, if it makes you feel better, I think this one's like not that bad, because like for after they meet the demon, it's a lot of bullshit, movie's over almost.
Yeah, I think my problem is going to be remembering the order stuff happens in.
Yeah, it's
because there's the first scene and then the stuff at the very end, and then a lot of stuff in the middle, like Scooby-Doo in the house kind of stuff that I think I'll have trouble with, but we'll try. So Father Gabriel Amorte or whatever is Russell Crowe. This movie takes place in the 80s, by the way. I would say 85 or 80 something. I don't know. Right around the time of Beetlejuice, I guess. So they are connected, probably. This guy is an Italian man, played by Russell Crowe, and he is
famously Italian.
Italian Russell Crowe, right, from Gladiator. Remember that time he was Italian in Gladiator? It's it's back, baby. Yeah. He loves a good accent. That's one thing I really love about him. Is like, even the Thor movie he's in, he has a preposterous accent.
I love his Thor movie accent.
He is in fact Australian, right?
That's right, yeah.
I don't know if I've ever heard his true, just talking regular Russell Crowe accent.
Did he use it in The Man with the Iron Fists?
No.
Or was he British? He does British a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, basically did British in Gladiator as well. So I don't even remember. Try to think of another movie where he hasn't been that. But he'll do an accent. And anyway, yeah, so he's in this. He plays that guy. And this Pope, or this exorcist, he's the exorcist for the Pope, like we said. The movie starts with him going to a village. He goes and like there's an exorcism, and he does what seems like an exorcism. It's kind of a boring, like there's a kid tied to a bed, going, You
guys ever seen The Exorcist?
Yeah, exactly. It's that.
Yeah.
Now, they end up killing a pig, and that's part of it. However, and this is an exorcism, by the way, that was not sanctioned by the Pope or something. He's like also kind of like a loose cannon, like Lethal Weapon type, who just does exorcisms on his own.
He's the bad boy of exorcisms.
Yeah. The popes have to literally, or like the cardinals call him in and like demand his gun and badge for doing exorcisms that cause too much damage in the city, kind of. It's one of those, like, he's one of those guys. And he's also like a goofball a little bit, or like he's a funny guy. And we'll learn that in this cardinal scene after the exorcism, he kind of explains like most exorcisms are just me waving around my hands and being like, get out of there, demon. But most people don't actually get possessed. I think he says like 98% of possessions are mostly just therapy sessions or something. And then, but 2%, they ask, what are the other 2%? And he says, evil. There's some sort of evil going on. Now there's two priests or cardinals or whatever that are important here. One is the black one, he's nice, and one is the white one, he's mean. And he's like the young pope, I guess, kind of like American, taking over the church and ruining it for everybody. And he does not like this shenanigans that Father whatever Gabriel is going on with. And he's gonna fire him, I think, or something. I cannot remember what the consequences will be for Russell Crowe, but there's gonna be consequences.
Better buck up, bucko.
You can't really like fire a priest, but he would just not be an exorcist anymore. They would assign him to do something else.
Right, like traffic duty or something. And it's weird because like I can't remember if this is now or later. He's like, well, the Pope tells me to exorcism. I don't know what the fuck. Talk to my boss. And at some point, the Pope is like in, he's in like a coma or something. I don't know if that's now or if that's later. But we'll find out why. And there's a whole thing. But basically, he's like getting in trouble for doing too many crazy exorcisms, being a bad guy. And well, you know, he uses humor, like we said, because the devil doesn't like humor and whatever. And he rides his little scooter around town to town. He gets a tip or whatever on a hot new exorcism in Spain. There is a family that has just moved to Spain from America. I cannot remember what the deal is with this. Basically, dad died in a car accident with the son. There's a son who's young and is, you know, probably like 12, maybe, a sister who's probably closer to like 16, 17, and then a mom. Dad died with son in a car accident. The son has been kind of like grief, you know, it had PTSD and he doesn't speak anymore. The daughter is just kind of like a rebellious teen. She doesn't really have too much like, I don't know. I don't know how to describe that character. Played by the actress, same actress who's like Miss Marvel's like popular girl in school that is kind of not really, I wouldn't even say a bully to her, but like it's that actress. But for whatever reason, they inherit a church in Spain. Now, did the dad own this? Or
It
what?
was his family.
Yeah, apparently his family owned it, and I guess he was the last person in his family or something.
It's like his dying wish or something for them to fix up the church or something, I think.
Well, no, it's like they have no. He died suddenly. They have no money, so she's like, gotta sell it. Gotta sell it.
Yes.
Now,
Right.
Don't ask me where she got the capital to like fund. But that's nitpicking. But you know, it raises some questions.
Yeah, there's like full guy, like there's a construction crew and stuff, and like people doing a renovation of like an old Spanish church.
So she got money, but
it's weird. So there's so they go to this thing and like it's a little bit of like Haunted Mansion where like the kid's like, I don't want to live here anymore, or like, no, he doesn't say that, but it's like these kids don't like this new place or whatever. But also much like kind of like Haunted Mansion, a demon shows up and possesses the boy. And the demon, I don't know exactly how to describe this. The demon, like the first time we saw the possession in the like first scene that was like ended up being a fake possession, kind of, as real as any of these can be. But like that guy was like convulsing and he kind of had like bloodshot eyes and stuff like that. And he was like saying all kinds of nonsense. This kid now gets like red eyes. And it's a boy, by the way. And he also gets like a deeper voice and a different voice from an actor off screen or something. So like it's very clear to us, the audience, this is another real exorcism, one of the 2% that are actually evil. And he keeps saying to bring him the priest. He wants the priest. And he's doing things like writing the word evil on his tummy or something like that. And, you know, flying around or whatever. I don't know. And so then they bring a priest, but they don't bring the Pope's exorcist yet. First they get, I guess, a local priest, whose name I already forgot, but it kind of sounds like Gabriel. If you hear it from a Vespa, you could be confused with Gabriel. What is it? Gabriel or something?
Spanish priest?
Yeah.
Tomás Esquivel.
Esquivel, right. And this guy is like young and doesn't really know how to do exorcisms, but hey, he's going to give it his best shot and it doesn't work out. And then the Pope's exorcist shows up and he tries and it's also bad. Doesn't work. And the Pope's exorcist is like, wow, this is really bad. There's definitely a whole thing going on. And I don't remember. I mentioned this, but haven't said it. I believe the first thing the kid does is grab the mom's boobs and say, I never got breastfed, mommy, or something like that, which is so
where's
bizarre.
my milk?
Yeah, it's a very sexual movie. Much like Beetlejuice, surprisingly sexual. Written by that one Rick and Morty writer, or that one Community writer who writes about incest all the time and like can't not work that into his stories. Cause yeah, I don't know. I don't want to get into every single bit of it, but it's weird. And the exorcism stuff's like what we'd expect. Kids flying around, saying curse words and stuff, talking about demon stuff. I don't remember when, but he says his real name, and it's Asmodeus, which I don't know if I know this from comic books or from video games or something, but this is a name that is probably real.
I think you know it from me explaining the cosmology of the D&D universe to you once.
Perhaps, yeah. I feel like it's a let me Google this. Asmodeus. It is a D&D thing. I kind of remember that. But I also
the name Asmodeus does originally come from like old like biblical and Talmudic sources. He was considered a demon in like Jewish and Christian I don't know what you'd call it, cosmology.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly what he did varies depending on what sources you listen to, but that is where the name comes from.
Gotcha. Yeah, so I'm looking this up now. He is a recurring enemy of Shazam, and there is Asmodeus in the Marvel universe. Asmodeus, as it's described on its TV trope pages, he is the Prince of Demons, King of the Jinn, and the demonic personification of lust. Okay, that makes sense. So like I could see this guy popping into like a Midnight Suns, whatever, or something. Oh wait, hold on. He is also the 13th and final ghost from Scooby-Doo and the Curse of the 13th Ghost.
What?
Yeah, apparently. I've never seen this because this is the direct-to-DVD movie.
Flim?
I don't know. This came out recently. This was like from 2019, it seems like. But because I don't think they ever did this. I don't think they did the 13th Ghost in the show. I think they just like it got either canceled early or something like that, or I don't know what it was. But yeah, it seems like it's connected to this in some way. But yes, this guy pops up a lot. He's very important. He's in the Persona games. He loves it. He's very exciting. And he hates, what's his name? He hates the Pope's Exorcist specifically. Now, at this point, I think is probably when the Pope goes into a coma, because it's related to some of the stuff that's happening here.
It's actually deeply unclear to me.
Well, yeah. So I think the Pope, I don't remember that. Okay. So I'm kind of confused about the whole the whole conspiracy, because at one point, so basically they do exorcism stuff and it doesn't work. They start Scooby-Dooing around and they find a secret crypt with like a bunch of stuff in it related to the Spanish Inquisition. Like some of the torture machines and like a cage with a guy in it. And they explain what the Spanish Inquisition is and why it's bad to us. And they, I feel like is the Pope in this universe looking into this at the same time, or because we find out later that all the Catholic Church, pretty much everything the Catholic Church has done since the Spanish Inquisition is because the Pope's exorcist or the Pope somehow got possessed by this demon, and the whole church has been evil or something. I couldn't figure this out.
So what they discover is that Tomás de Torquemada, not Torquemada, it was someone else that they say it was. Anyway, a high up figure in the Spanish Inquisition had actually been possessed by Asmodeus the whole time.
Yeah.
And so the Spanish Inquisition and all the like bad stuff that we associate that with now because of all the bad stuff it did, was actually a plot by Asmodeus and Satan himself to like make bad things happen by infiltrating the church. And eventually they found this out and trapped this guy down here trying to exorcise him. But they covered up that it had ever happened so that people didn't know the Vatican had been under the sway of devils for so long.
Oh my God. Okay. So here's what I thought happened in this movie. And I was way off then. I thought because this happened, everything you didn't like that the Catholic Church did was actually this guy's fault, including the priests and Catholic priests from like our generation, like that news story. Because when they said cover up and he's talking about this, and it's like, it's the cover ups, I was like, oh, that's also this guy's fault. But that is not related to this, is what you're saying.
He does bring it up at one point in a manner I found deeply confusing.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But no, that's not related to Asmodeus, no.
Okay. So then the Pope that is looking into this is probably good or whatever, and gets overtaken by the evil of Asmodeus too. I guess the Pope probably is like, hey, how's that exorcism going? Interesting. And then for whatever reason, he falls ill. They go look around this crypt. They find this body that they find a key inside of the body or something, right? We also are getting like a bunch of bullshit. Like he's got like a magic amulet and stuff, and like there's lots of symbols going around. And the amulet is supposed to be used to like kill the demons. I think once they escape this like crypt or whatever, and this is a relatively short movie, so like we're pretty close to done. When they escape this crypt, they go back to the house, and now the sister is also possessed. And she's like possessed like a CGI, like cartoon character. Like she jumps in the air and her body, her bones all break and like does spider walk and whatever. I can't remember. Is she also possessed by Asmodeus, or is this a different demon?
I think it's also Asmodeus. I think the idea is that Asmodeus is so powerful he can possess multiple people at once.
That makes sense. So they find this. This is even worse now because there's two. They do more exorcism stuff. Back down when they're in the crypt, or maybe after this, the Pope's exorcist realizes that he needs to confess his sins to Gabriel, or not Gabriel. Gabriel's Pope's exorcist, the other guy. And the other guy needs to confess his sins to Pope's exorcist, because Pope's exorcist is like, that's what the demon is, like feeding on our sins or something. And it's been so long since you've done confession that maybe that's the problem. So they both tell each other their backstory. I don't remember, honestly, the priest's backstory, but the Pope's exorcist backstory is quite not confusing, but it's a lot. He was in World War II, like I said. And he's got some survivor's guilt from that, I guess, or something. But more importantly, he didn't do an exorcism he should have done, or did it poorly or something. And that woman who was being possessed by the demon died. Like, but I don't know. Maybe she wasn't possessed by the demon. I can't remember.
I think my understanding of it is actually hilarious because so it was he was told this woman was possessed. He goes to see her, and like at the beginning of the movie, he determines, oh, she's not possessed, she's going through like an episode, or like there's she's having mental health problems, and so he refers her to like mental health professionals. He's like, this isn't a demon thing, go get her help. And then she kills herself later, for which he is around to watch for no reason. I don't know why he's there.
Just hanging out.
It's next to his favorite gelato store, like espresso. It's just a coincidence.
She does say right before throwing herself from the bell tower or whatever, it's like, do you believe me now? So maybe she was like stalking him and then like ran up to the highest point and like threw herself off in front of him.
Potentially. But he says that this happened because of his pride. And I'm like, your pride in handing off a case you admit is not actually in your expertise to actual experts? That was your pride? That was your sinful pride in this moment?
Makes no sense.
It's wild. And so that's his sad backstory. I don't remember. Does the other priest have one? I mean, he has something.
He fucks a woman.
Oh,
who
yeah.
for health. Yeah.
Oh my God. Yes. I forgot about that. But
he boned down with a woman who was an adult. We need to specify.
Yes.
Everyone needs to be clear.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. This is the whole celibacy thing, not some other weird shit. He wasn't celibate.
Not some other much worse stuff that priests also do.
Yeah, no, this was just a celibacy crime.
That's
He
right.
like he fell in love with a woman and he boned down with her a few times and he told her that he would leave the priesthood and marry her, but he was lying.
Yeah.
Right. Right. Oh my God. Yeah, that's so fun. Not funny. Well, we'll get to it. But yeah, so they do this and then they go to another exorcism, or maybe this happened before the double exorcism. I don't remember. But this exorcism ends where Father Gabriel, Pope's exorcist, is like, the demon wants me. So I'm going to let the demon possess me and then kill myself. And that's his strategy going into this thing. And the demon goes for it because it's psyched about that. And he, like I said, tries to hang himself or whatever by like probably his little priest robes or something. It doesn't work because the demon has all the superpowers of the demon and wants to like make him suffer. So he takes Father Gabriel down into the crypt from before and makes him sit on like a little throne, and he gets his own big stick and stuff. And now he is like the evil devil man. So the Spanish priest has to go down and like stop him, and they kind of do. It works kind of well, but then more ghost stuff happens where both of these women that they failed, air quotes, come to life. First, the woman that Father Gabriel had shows up as like the Ring kind of figure and like starts attacking him. Actually, she like kind of looks like more like the actual exorcism, like that movie. But then the woman that the other priest slept with, comes out of like a Iron Maiden as like a big blood monster and tries to strangle him. But he's able to use that amulet thing from before and kill her. And then I think he like tosses it over to Father Gabriel, and he also uses the amulet to kill his evil spirit girl. And then I think it ends. I honestly can't remember if there's more stuff, but then like the Pope gets better, I guess, and then everything is fine. And then he hands them like their next assignment, 100 exorcisms, which I guess, as far as this guy is concerned,
99.
Yeah, like the
It's
fucking haunted mansion.
Yeah, it's like an afternoon for him.
Yeah, exactly. That's one, that's a bus or subway car or something. I don't know. But yeah, and then he gets on his little scooter, rides past the Coliseum from Gladiator, and then the thing, I guess, on screen pops up that he did more exorcisms than you could possibly imagine. And he wrote a book that was good. And that was when I was like, oh my God, this is a real person. And it turns out this guy is a real person, like we said, who died in 2016 or something like that. But is like kind of famous for this kind of stuff, which I think is fascinating. I'm sure I forgot some stuff, but that's kind of the gist of it, I think.
That's the important stuff.
Yeah.
Well, now that we all know exactly what happened in the Pope's Exorcist, DJ, as our winner, you get to tell us what you thought about the movie first.
Hey guys.
Yeah.
I don't hate this movie.
Blasphemy, DJ. Blasphemy. Repent.
I think that this movie is almost good. It is a silly exorcism style movie with like some fun, punchy Russell Crowe action going on. I think the first half hour is like pretty solid, like where he's like having the hearing and he's yelling at him and he's kind of getting introduced to the situation, and then meets the demon. I think when he meets the demon, it kind of like dips down, but then picks up a little bit when we're getting to some of the action at the end. But like, I don't know, I don't think it's bad. I think it is like what it is, and like I enjoyed at least watching like a third of this movie. So that's what, like a solid like C+. Like I didn't hate it. Was it good? Not really, but was I entertained? Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Would you say the main question would be, are you not entertained?
Are you not entertained? Exactly. And I think by that metric, I think this movie passes. It's silly. I'll always watch a silly Russell Crowe movie. I think Diggins was smart to pick this movie. I think parts of it are like hilariously bad that we could talk about the nitpicks, but overall, I kind of enjoyed this movie. Nando, are you here to fully dissent against my opinions?
Well, first of all, I'm shocked you didn't mention that it's like barely 90 minutes long, but it might be actually
90.
longer. Yeah, it's pretty
90,
short.
It's a
90.
little longer. It's like a tight all 106, I think.
Yeah. But like, I think it falls in the tight 90 category.
It's very nice. No, I also love this movie. I think without Russell Crowe, this movie would be unwatchable. Like,
Oh, hell yeah.
but he
Hell
is
yeah.
so interesting with his accents, and also, I mean, like the pitch for this movie works. Like the priest who doesn't really do exorcisms, just mostly humors people, and then refers to a psychiatrist because that's what would really happen. Finally meets a real demon who's pure evil and hates him so much. Like there's a movie there. And then I do think like a lot of the stuff with the family is kind of whatever. Like that feels like these kinds of movies that do exist where it's like, I haven't seen them, but like every maybe 4 or 5 years, there'll be some new exorcism movie that's like another shot at the Exorcist. And they always have the title, like Exorcist is somewhere in the title, the last exorcism, the first exorcism, whatever. And like, I feel like those are probably fine, but are obviously lacking the magic of Russell Crowe. I also think the conspiracy part, like when it seemed like it was just going to be, oh, you're like a demon, I'm going to exorcise you. It didn't work. And then he tries the next day. That felt like it was going to be kind of boring. But then when we get into the cave and like all of the silly conspiracy stuff, I thought it was also kind of great. The ending where it turns into like, Doctor Strange is pretty good. I overall, I would watch another one of these. I had a great time with it. What about you, Diggins? What do you think of the Pope's Exorcist?
Well, guys, we all know I was the one pushing for the Pope's Exorcist. I was the one sitting here going, come on, guys, Pope's Exorcist. We got to keep the dream alive. And the main reason why over 5 months after this movie came out and everyone forgot about it, we're doing it right now. And let me tell you, that persistence paid off, baby. Pope's Exorcist.
Yeah.
So good.
Now, do I think this movie's fun on purpose? Absolutely not.
Yeah, for sure.
Do I think this movie's fun? Hell yeah. So the fundamental problem with like exorcism movies is that none of them know how to do anything that's not just The Exorcist again.
Mm-hmm.
And this movie definitely has that problem, where the actual exorcist parts are a small child with an incongruously deep voice doing gross stuff and talking and throwing out fuck words.
It's just a drag.
Oh my God, I forgot the part where the Pope throws up. We'll get to it. But yeah, I just didn't mention that in my summary. The Pope throws up blood, like Charlie from that episode of fucking Always Sunny where he eats too many blood baths. It's great.
He throws up blood all over the cardinal we're not supposed to like.
Yeah.
So like, got him. Now you got Pope blood all over you.
Yeah, punk.
Although actually, if the Pope is, God's voice on earth, wouldn't that mean like his blood is like holy and sacred? I would think it would be a blessing to be covered in the Pope's blood.
That's true.
Maybe we didn't see the scene where that guy goes home and is like, honey, you'll never believe what happened to me at work today.
Those famously married Catholic priests. Yeah.
Well, I mean, apparently it happens more than you'd expect. Maybe it's the dark secret of the Catholic Church that we're going to find out in the Pope's Exorcist 2.
We can only hope.
What was the second? The Exorcism movies. The Exorcist movie had like really weird titles. I can't remember. But yeah. Anyway.
So this movie does have that problem, but it tries to solve it in the funniest ways possible, which is that halfway through it turns into like a conspiracy thriller about the ancient Spanish Inquisition conspiracy that goes all the way to the top. And then none of that really matters. And then we just go on to the fucking Marvel movie climax.
Yeah.
Where they're doing like holy laser beams at the fucking devil. And Russell Crowe, I think, Nando, you are correct. Russell Crowe is legitimately very fun in this movie. He's doing his goofy accent. He's cracking his jokes. He's just generally... He's having a good time. And that just really, really helps this movie not drag. I mean, the movie's bad. I don't even necessarily recommend watching it, but
Oh, I do. It's on Netflix. If you have Netflix, watch it.
Here's what I'd say: watch it with some pals. Watch it with some buddies.
Ooh, that's good.
Yeah, don't watch it by yourself.
Have
some
brewskis. Have a what's an Italian drink? Martini, I guess. No. Negroni. Those are very popular. Have an espresso martini or something.
Loves.
No, guys, you gotta have a limoncello.
Oh,
Oh
yeah.
yeah, there we go.
One of those.
Wait, what's in his little flask? I can't remember.
I
Whiskey.
think he said whiskey.
It's just whiskey, right? Okay, yeah. So yeah, I don't think that could hurt. And yeah, if you go in with low expectations, this movie's pretty good.
It's by the way, it's we didn't really any of us say this. It's not a horror movie.
No, not even
By
kind
any
of scary.
definition, like
It's not even a little bit scary. It's incredibly not. We're all huge coward babies,
Yeah.
and none of us had a problem.
Bill Maher could
Yeah.
watch this movie and not be scared. That's how much of a coward you can be and enjoy this movie. It's incredible.
yeah, my wife, who traditionally enjoys horror movies, is like you're gonna watch a horror movie, like knowing nothing about it, right? Just besides the name. And I'm like, oh no, Michelle, this is like not a horror movie at all.
Yeah.
So yeah,
It's really incredible because like every time this movie does try to do a horror movie thing, it's hilarious. Like I was saying, where the kid writes like words on his belly and like writes them in like scratches or whatever. At one point, he like writes one and then opens up his shirt to reveal it, and then you're like, what? And then he rolls up more of his shirt to finish it, but it's the stuff that should have come first. It's so funny. And yeah, all the special effects are bad. Russell Crowe does the big mouth from fucking Artemis Fowl at one point.
Yeah.
Great.
well, that's why it's such a bad horror movie, because
Yeah.
it doesn't do any of the horror movie tropes well. Like it doesn't hang on a scene with like eerie music. It just like
Mhm.
goes for it. Like at one point the teenage daughter is like for half a second you think being stalked by someone, and then she's like thrown into a wall and the ship being like beat at, like the ship being beat
Yeah.
at her by like phantoms.
There's-
It's so weird.
So much telekinesis in this movie. Just yeah, awkwardly got throwing a guy into a thing. I'm surprised everybody survives this movie that does, because
The mom who gets sucked into the bed by some fucking guy.
oh my god, yeah,
Like,
who was
the
that?
husband?
I guess
Drag
so.
me to hell.
It was just an arm. It was like
was
a
Freddy
disembodied
Krueger.
arm.
But like, yeah, at first I thought it was like, oh, sexy, like, oh, honey, but then it was like, I'm gonna kill you, like, fucking,
Yeah,
so weird, so weird.
yeah, it is like that part of it is fascinating because it's so every couple of minutes, like I said, every like 5-6 minutes, it tries to do exorcism stuff again and just gets bored and then starts doing something else. And the something else is always pretty fun. Like it's this weird little flashback story, or sneaking around in the crypt and reaching into a guy's chest to get a key and like stuff like that. So it doesn't not do exorcisms, because then you'd be like, well, I would love like to see an exorcism in this. But it never does too much exorcism, which is good.
Yeah, I think like what makes this movie like such a ride is that like the first half hour is just background on the guy. And I actually think this movie does this part well, where it could be a real movie, right?
Mhm.
Like the hearing is like the least funny part of the movie, but it's interesting. Because like Russell Crowe's just like getting on his haunches and be like, and if you have a problem with me, you have to go to my bishop, and because my diocese is the Vatican, my
Yeah.
bishop is the Pope. Like very just like wild shit, right? And then but like once we get into like the actual exorcism, it devolves so quickly and becomes just very funny with all the stuff you guys mentioned. It's so weird. I have some notes here. I have some particulars I want to talk about. So beginning of the movie, when we have our first exorcism, so I appreciate that this guy's deal, and we learn about it later, where he's like, it's more of a psychology thing, is like he's just gonna neg the devil into doing what he wants.
Mhm.
And I think it's great. I think it's so great.
Yeah,
It's like, oh, what, you can do anything, you're all powerful, possess me, possess me, possess this pig, you possess a pig. Like I just thought that back and forth was phenomenal.
it's pretty good. The pig thing blew my mind in the moment, because I don't think he
Yeah.
he walks by the pig as he's going into this thing, because it's like it's a village where a guy's just sitting outside the house with a pig, and he just has like a nice
Yeah.
pig, and I'm like, that's nice. He's like friendly. That's a good character trait to build up in a character like
Yeah.
this. And then the solution of this exorcism is just have someone shoot the pig and kill it. And I'm like, did we agree to that beforehand? Is that guy part of it? And he brought that pig, and he's like, oh, that's a good pig. We could shoot that pig, right? Like, what was that?
Yeah, it seems like he would have like there would have been something there where he goes, hey, just I need you to be ready to shoot this pig in case he starts freaking out because I'm gonna put the devil inside. I mean, you don't say that exactly, but the way you be coy is you might want to have a little a gun handy.
Yeah. Very coy, yeah.
Yeah, you might want to be ready to murder this fucking pig.
It's awesome.
Maybe actually the farmer didn't know that's what was going on.
I think so.
They just heard the priest calls, hey, bring the pig in. And he's like, well, obviously this priest wants to have some lovely pork. Mm-hmm. So I guess I got to be ready to slaughter this pig so we can have some pork with the priest.
I kind of like that, actually.
Now that I'm thinking about it, okay. So wait, and that exorcism isn't an exorcism, right? Like it is not.
I don't think so.
It can't be.
He says at the thing that it's not. It wasn't a real possession. The guy was just having an episode, and he did a little psychological trick to help him get over it.
Right. So wait, does the guy in that scene kill the pig by accident because he does think the devil's in the pig?
Yeah,
I was wondering that's what myself. That is. This makes way more sense then. So he's kind of bummed that guy killed the pig because he thought everybody was in on it. Oh,
yeah.
What a good guy.
Also, when in that scene that you mentioned where during the hearing he goes like 98% of exorcisms or psychology tricks, whatever, and that's just to kind of get like the audience for this movie on board. To your point, Nando, it's like, oh, what does he do for like a real exorcism? Mm-hmm. Like you figure the actual guy whose life this is based off of would be like, that's fucking bullshit. How dare they put that in this movie? I never said that. I would never say that. I did 200,000 at least.
Yeah.
That is bullshit.
Well, first of all, he had been dead for 7 years when this movie came out. So,
well, I'm just saying if he had seen
well,
it,
but
like,
no, because I Googled this because I was curious. Apparently his estate hates this movie. And like, it's like he would not like it. It's bad, which is fair. But apparently Russell Crowe also studied this guy and like read all his books and went to all his places and stuff. He did the full like method actor thingy. So both sides thought they were doing, the right thing by Father Gabriel, but they weren't fans on the Father Gabriel side of things. Because he didn't do 50,000 exorcisms in the movie,
Right,
or did he? Based on now that we know how these work and like what his parameters are, I would love to go back and find out how many exorcisms he does in this movie because it's got to be like 20 or 30.
Yeah, probably.
If it just counts as a prayer, that might work.
But like the real guy was never like, actually, it was a psychological trick. Like most people aren't possessed. It's a very few cases that are, you know what I mean? Like they weirdly put nuance into this movie.
Yeah.
Very strange.
Yeah, it's sick. It's cool.
I got some other notes here. Okay, so during the hearing portion, thought this was weird. So the bad cardinal who hates the Pope's exorcist is like, this is a formal hearing, therefore it will be conducted in English. I'm like, how the fuck are formal hearings at the Vatican conducted in English? It would be like Latin, right?
I guess
I don't think they speak conversational Latin.
Well, I don't know what it would be then. Like Italian, it's not English. There's no way, unless some new the English Pope came in and was like, guys, we gotta start doing this shit in English.
The young Pope strikes again.
That was
my understanding is that most of the functionaries and such in the Vatican are Italian, and so they mostly speak Italian. But, the cardinals are all from all over the world, so I guess amongst themselves, they do have to find a common language.
All right, well, I doubt it's English. That seemed like a line to help out that actor who was like, look, man, by the way, who was giving it? That guy was giving it.
The director went up to him and was like, okay, so you're supposed to be the like snide cardinal that no one likes because you don't like the main character. And he's like, say no more. Got it. and he brought it.
So, but like that line was like for him to be like, it's in English, goddammit. So yeah, it's so weird.
I mean, I do feel like the director does also before every scene starts has to be like, by the way, you're in this scene with Russell Crowe, so good fucking luck. Like standing out, he's going to be playing a silly Italian man. You really better do something, otherwise you're going to fade into the background.
It's true. All right, I got some couple more notes. Okay, so the boy's possessed. The mom takes him to like a hospital or a psych ward or something, right? And they're like, "Oh, it must be some form of psychosis." And she goes, "That's impossible. He's just a boy." That's horrible. I laughed out loud so hard. It's a weird line give for something that's like, I mean, like it's horrible, but a little boy could go through psychosis. Like, I don't know, just that. I gotta be honest, I don't think the mom was great. Like, I thought a lot of her lines were like, or like just a lot of her reads were very just like way too forced. I don't know who the actress is, but like I had to write that one down because I like just burst out laughing because it was almost like a comedy read. Yeah, I don't know if you guys like just that well, on her performance in general, what'd you guys think?
I don't know. I mean, nobody in this movie besides Russell Crowe and like that one guy, the cardinal we're talking about, really like made an impression on me. Although I do think by the end I liked the second priest.
Me
I don't
too.
Remember.
He was a good juxtaposition to Russell Crowe, I think.
I think he was
Some
fine.
calmness.
Yeah, but yeah, the mom and all them, I don't know, they were okay. None of them really stood out.
I think we can all agree the absolute worst casting choice in the entire movie is the kid.
I honestly, like, okay, in terms of like casting that kid for this role, yes. I think he did a pretty good job for what he had to do. He mouthed those lines perfectly. Like,
I solely mean the look of this kid.
Awful,
this like
awful,
scrawny
awful.
little Victorian orphan supposed to be big scary demon man just does not work.
Just terrible. No, I am with you there.
Yeah, it's pretty weird.
What was the call for this? Need scrawny child with long hair and sunken in eyes to play possessed child.
Probably, honestly, I think that's what they were going for. You need a more
innocent look, right? Or I don't know. Diggins, are you thinking something like more menacing? Is that kind of what you're going towards?
I don't know. I guess it could have worked if the effects were better.
Oh, that's fair.
But I don't know. Something about this scrawny little child trying to say all these threatening things, telling Russell Crowe that he's gonna fuck him. It'll be a sin. It'll be a sin because Russell Crowe will enjoy it.
I'm gonna fuck you so hard.
Did
he say at one point like you're gonna come? Yeah, I'm gonna fuck you so hard you're gonna come.
This is a very R-rated movie, which also surprised me. Because these are usually kind of PG-13. Oh, anybody can see it, but no, they went for it.
I mean, the original Exorcists are, so
that's
what they were going
and this
for.
is about as good as that.
Art. Not talking about fucking people and them coming. Hey, you guys want to play a game of guess?
Well, listen, DJ, that is a movie where the demon child tells the priest that his mother sucks cocks in hell.
Right, and like so actually, before we get off this, I googled the kid. I think I know exactly why they hired him. He is a very high level black belt. And I bet they wanted somebody who could like do all kinds of stuff, like contort his body in ways that are kind of interesting. Yeah, because like that does seem like that's mostly he's a model as well, according to this. But like I bet they wanted someone who could like do funky stuff in an exciting way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, do you guys want to play a game of guess the budget?
Oh God, that's a great question. I'll go first. Oh man, I mean, part of me wants this. I don't know. I think I'm going to say 90 million.
Okay.
I think it's under 100, but higher than you'd expect.
They had to pay Russell Crowe's salary.
Yep.
But it doesn't seem like they spend money on nearly anything else.
How dare you?
So I'm gonna lowball Nando here. I'm gonna give it a cool 70 million.
All right. Well, you both of you guys are way over. This had a budget of 18 million.
Wow.
18 million. Yeah.
Way to go.
So, and by the way, gross worldwide box office of 76 million. So they killed it.
Huge hit.
Oh, so we might be getting a Pope's Exorcist too.
I think they'd be fools not to at least try. Like, this seems like the kind of thing. I don't think it would be a humongous hit, but I do think, like the Meg, you could, on kind of curiosity alone, get a first run audience, get this Netflix audience, and then when the second one comes out, get people that are actually kind of psyched for
Yeah.
two. Honestly, I think the trouble would be, could they recapture the magic?
That's it, right? Yeah.
And I don't know if they could.
But like they set it up, and I have that as one of my notes for later. But like we're kind of here. They set it up for a sequel.
They
set it up for 199 sequels.
I mean, like the second one can open up where it's I can't even intend Russell Crowe's weird Italian accent, but we've taken out the first 50 that were pretty easy to get to, but we're gonna have to bring in some ringers to get the next 149.
Well, the problem is they started with Asmodeus, the king of hell. I think
Right.
they'll all be easier after that.
He'd have to go through like other pantheons or something like that and exercise like Hades and I don't know, Seth or whatever from Egypt, and just get every single one.
There would have to be a reveal that actually they didn't take on Asmodeus in this movie, but like an Asmodeus imposter. Right? Like some retro, it wasn't actually this big guy. We were lied to.
That was actually just Baphomet pretending to be me.
Right. And like, well, Asmodeus is Prince of Demons, but he's not like, I would say he's below Satan and like some of those other guys. So I think you could.
Lucifer is the emperor of hell. Asmodeus is the king of hell. So
you could scale up. I think the trouble is like, because these are period pieces too. This could be so much fun setting one in like the early 90s and doing just because like this takes place in the 80s and it's a little bit 80s. Like the kids are all dressed like they're in Stranger Things and stuff.
Yeah.
But like you could really have some fun with this and like get it to have him exercise like the cast of Saved by the Bell or something. Make it a true 90s thing. But I don't know. I think you could. What would he do in a? Well, we'll get to it. But yeah.
Okay. I have one more besides the sequel, and I wrote this down, and it means nothing to me. I don't know if it'll mean anything to you guys. It was on the latter half of the movie. That's his demon. Oh yeah, like how the reveal of like when the mom says, this was another weird line that made me laugh. He's asking like, why was the boy possessed? It's like, oh, he saw his dad die in like an unexpected car accident, which by the way, not sure how that happened. We see the dad with like a pole just like going through his whole fucking face, and like the car, like did he run into the giant pole factory? That was weird.
Maybe.
Just trying to figure out how that happened.
It was time for him to bring his son to this first strip club.
Yeah.
And it was a tragic accident.
Giant pole. It
was a Final Destination, a pole truck carrying a bunch of poles. Like they all kind of got loose and just went right through them.
It was something that had to kill the dad with no impact on the kid, and they went with giant pole. So the mom goes like, he saw his dad die. That's his demon, and then this the whole thing. And I don't know. I laughed. I laughed because all her lines bad. My notes are all just her stupid lines.
Well, it's also like we're dealing with real demons. It's not that. It's like it's kind of like, it reminded me of the line in Wonder Woman 2, the one everyone hates, where what's his name, who gets powers by touching people, goes and sees the television and is like, oh, this can touch everyone, and everybody in the room was like, I guess, but like not really. I don't think it'll work for you.
When we said that, we meant it very metaphorically.
Yeah, it's like, you gotta know we're not talking about demons, right? But I guess not.
I know. Do you guys have any more notes on this like silly ass movie?
Now that I'm thinking about it, this really is Haunted Mansion-y though, because Haunted Mansion's also about the dad dies and like they move into the house and the dad kind of haunts the kid a little bit. They we got a lot of two of those this year. They probably came out around the same time too. This was earlier, but
well, this came out in April. Haunted Mansion came out in August.
Neither of them came out in October for some reason.
Yeah,
it's great.
DJ, you brought something up to me before we started recording.
Yes, and I think I said it on the recording too, but we have to talk about this. Is there an Assassin's Creed connection with this movie?
No.
Damn it.
There is a Dragon Age connection with this movie.
Dragon Age.
That's what this is.
Dragon Age Inquisition, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So
great.
when Pope's exorcist Russell Crowe is doing his investigations into the moldering crypt of this monastery, and finds all the stuff about the guy who was in the Spanish Inquisition and everything, he sees a bunch of symbols that he looks at and is like, the Spanish Inquisition. But eagle-eyed viewers
Oh, God.
realized that that's not actually the symbol of the Spanish Inquisition that he's looking at, which was just the cross of Saint. What's the Dominicans? The Dominican cross.
Oh, sure.
But is instead the symbol of the video game Dragon Age Inquisition.
I can't believe it.
It's awesome.
How?
They
How does that
Googled it.
happen?
Someone
They Googled it.
and then went, oh, this one. Okay, that looks about right. And then that was it.
That's the craziest shit.
If you Google Inquisition symbol, it is the first thing that comes up.
But
Yeah.
you gotta do your research, bro. You gotta do your
Do you,
research.
DJ?
We only got $19 million or something. We don't have a bunch of guys doing, fact checking. We couldn't afford it. So I get that.
Now, in fairness to whatever intern made this mistake, the Dragon Age Inquisition symbol looks way cooler than the actual Spanish Inquisition symbol.
Yeah, it looks sick.
Yeah.
That's why it's from a video game.
I mean, they should adopt it if they,
Well, the Spanish Inquisition has not existed for hundreds of years, so that would be a little troublesome.
I mean,
I thought you meant like the movie should adopt it as maybe the weird. This is ours now.
oh, or this could be a Dragon Age. This could take place in, I don't know what Dragon Age is, but this could be like a sequel to that or something.
You know dragons?
I've heard of them, yeah.
They had a whole age.
Did they do the Spanish Inquisition in it?
Kinda.
Oh, cool. That's fun.
If instead of being Jewish, the problem was having magic or being an elf, then yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I feel like this. I think I like this. I like that this has a weird Dragon Age thing in it. It's the first thing I ever heard about this movie. Like, besides the title and that it came out, I never heard a review of this. I just heard that they accidentally used something from a video game. And it's pretty good.
It's extremely good. Yeah, you know what? If they didn't do it on purpose to drum up publicity, then they should have.
Yeah. And it's funny because they go so far out of their, it's not just because I expected you would walk by something and if you really paid attention in the background, you'd be able to see that the cross has a big dragon behind it or something. But no, he's pointing it all out like it's a video game. Like, do you see this symbol? Do you know what this means? And puts a big flashlight on it. So it's really hard to miss if you paid any attention to either the Catholic Church side of things or the Dragon Age side of things. I like
True. I also want to say, as far as this movie using the Spanish Inquisition goes, so this is an idea many people have in real life, so I suppose it's forgivable. But as far as the Spanish Inquisition being the worst thing the Catholic Church has ever done, it's as far as Inquisitions went, which were all bad, let's be clear, the Spanish Inquisition was probably one of the least bad ones.
I didn't even know there were other Inquisitions.
Same here, man.
Were they all country-based or something? Or was it Spanish Inquisition 2, Spanish Inquisition 3? Oh, okay.
Mostly country-based. The French Inquisition led into the Albigensian Crusade, which is a event from which we get the phrase, kill 'em all, let God sort 'em out.
Oh, wow.
Literally, I mean, maybe a later writer made this up, but literally a general in the Albigensian Crusade they call it a crusade. It was literally just slaughtering a bunch of people who believed in a heresy in southern France. They got to some town, and then one of his subordinates was like, hey, so some of those people aren't heretics. How are we supposed to figure out which ones are and which ones aren't? And his response was literally well, just kill all of them. God knows who's not a heretic.
That's awful.
Yeah.
And
wow.
Yeah. What is it about the Spanish Inquisition then? All the torture machines and stuff are just kind of memorable? Because that is what I always associate with it, is all the, weird stuff. The artifacts.
Yeah, I think, it's partially nationalistic reasons. At the time it was happening, was also around the time that England was splitting from the Catholic Church. And so and Spain was their main geopolitical rival, so it behooved them to paint their actions as especially villainous. And again, it was bad. Let me be clear. I'm not saying the Spanish Inquisition was like all rosy. There was like torture and death and all sorts of bad things. It's just, all the Inquisitions were really horrible, and singling out the Spanish Inquisition is a little silly.
Is it the first one?
No, in fact, it's the last one.
Oh man! So we can find out in the next movie that like a different demon even did more ones further in the past. Maybe that's how they'll connect these to other real world events in a way that makes it, important and grounds it to the audience. Because I didn't even know they existed.
I mean, the reason that everyone knows about them has to be because Monty Python, right?
I mean,
right?
It's not part of it.
Yeah, it definitely helped. I feel like it's the one that I always associate with like those big racks, the torture machine, the Iron Maiden, and that's probably also all wrong or something. But it's probably the most memorable for that, or that I think that helps. And it's apparently the one where the devil took over the priest or whatever. So that's big. What else? What other weird things were in this movie? I do think this exorcism in general is not like it is kind of all over the place in terms of like what this exorcism is, but also at one point, I don't know if you guys remember this, like, because they're like this kid is possessed by the demon of hell and like doing all kinds of magic, but they're also able to like tranquilize him with like drugs.
Yeah. What?
Yeah, she gives him the sedative that the doctors gave her at the start of the movie. At one point to calm him down and stop him from doing devil possession stuff. And I'm like, why does that work on Asmodeus?
Yeah. It kind of does. I don't get it.
That's the thing you need, and they didn't do this, but Father Gabriel has to go, I can concoct a special sedative for him because of all of my knowledge of being the Pope's exorcist, and my little fucking briefcase, which is just gadgets.
Little holy water and a little espresso bean just for fun. Hey.
This'll get him. That was super weird.
I that part really confused me because maybe I did miss a thing. I don't know, but there was a lot of parts.
No, you didn't.
Something there.
So while we're on nitpicks, okay. So I touched on this earlier, but I really want to get into this part. So the reason that the family has to refurbish this abbey that was decrepit, and haunted, but they didn't know it, is because the father died and they had no income. So instead, they flew to Spain from America. We don't know where in America, but somewhere in America. They flew to Spain. Were able to get enough stuff to stay there, right? I don't know what they did for food and stuff. I guess the whole exorcism thing threw that off. But the plan was to have enough food and stuff or whatever to live there while it's under construction for probably at least a couple of months, and then to sell it because they had no income now that the father died. That could not have been the best way to make money to sustain the family. That just couldn't have been. I'm sorry. I know times are hard, but there had to have been something else.
Now, I'm curious, now that we're talking about it, because we've talked about this guy. Is this a real thing that happened? Not obviously the way it happened, but are all the weird specifics of this story just what, an American family came to Spain with this crazy plan to renovate the church or castle or whatever this is supposed to be? And they put that in the movie and they're like, this is kind of preposterous, but this is what happened. So you got to put it in. Because this is based on his books, I guess, kind of, right?
So, I mean, the fact that there is a man named Gabriel Amort who was an exorcist in the Vatican is where taking information from the books ends.
So then, that part of it is pretty bizarre. Mostly because I would buy it if Haunted Mansion, they're going to refurbish it themselves. But in this, they have, a full crew, multiple guys that are going to do this work there. So why are they even there? What do they know about castle refurbishment that makes it more valuable if they're at the castle? Anybody you could stay with?
I love that the guys that they have working on it are... So at one point they find more of the Asmodeus stuff. I don't know. Where there's a sulfurous gas deposit.
Right, yeah.
And they make an explosion, a little explosion that doesn't kill anyone. It just hurts them a little. And the construction manager is just well, we found a gas deposit that we didn't know was there, so we're all quitting immediately, leaving right this second. We're breaking the contracts. Everything's off. Like, I don't know, man. I feel like if you're a construction company that presumably specializes in restoration of old buildings, then finding unexpected things like an old gas pocket is something that you've accounted for.
Yeah, I don't know, because it's weird. So, like, what I think happens in that scene, too, which isn't incredibly clear to me, when they break that wall open, Asmodeus escapes through it and starts possessing the kid.
That is correct.
So, like, but yeah, I don't know, because how much gas is in something like this? Like, would it be, is it sitting on a sulfur, like so much sulfur that it'll just fill up in once and then...
Yeah, because of hell or whatever.
I was going to say, I think the idea is that all the sulfur's coming from hell.
So then, yeah, I feel like, I don't know, this feels like it'd be pretty valuable. Can you mine that? Can you get money?
That's how they'll do it. Well, also Diggins, maybe the reason that these contractors up and left is because, again, I don't know how she's affording contractors with no money to support the family, but maybe she hired the absolute worst Italian contractors who where it was a day-to-day contract and it was like leave at any moment because that's all she could afford because apparently she has no money.
Wait, we're in Spain at this point, right?
Or Spain, excuse me, Spanish contractors. Okay. Yeah, she got the worst Spanish contractors possible, and that is it.
It's probable they don't seem, incredible because you kind of figure if this is not that unusual of a thing, they'd check before they like put a big match into the empty room that no one's been in for a century or whatever. But yeah, I don't know.
Also, super lame that the powerful, like, demon king Asmodeus is just being held back by some fucking brick.
Yeah.
Like, not like a sigil or something. Like that's the version, right? Is where, like, oh, there was some sigil on the other side of the wall. They knocked that down. Oh, that would have been perfect, right? They knocked the sigil down. That lets him escape. Then during the Pope's Exorcist, whatever, they find, they knocked the sigil down. We have to recreate it, and that's part of the solution.
Well, DJ, what you're not taking into account here is that brick had been covered in the Pope's very own blood.
Oh, yeah. That would have been another great one. Like, Pope, we need your blood to
Quick, American Cardinal, scrape all that Pope blood off your face. We need it. Stat.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It is weird now that I think about it. But like I'm looking at it now because I have the scene going. They honestly might tip over a holy brick or something. Like so they
maybe they did it and I missed it. But
so the guy makes the hole in the wall or finds a hole in the wall or something, and then looks into it and sees something that he moves. That is what opens up the wall to the thing. Yeah, no, I don't know. Or wait, I think I know what happens. I think you're kind of right. There's like an explosion or something that causes like this crack to form in a wall that has some sort of bullshit on it. And like that's how the devil gets out. Or I think that's what it is.
Movie, you win.
They did it.
It wasn't just some fucking brick that stopped Asmodeus.
They got it. And
I just wish they would have revisited that because they don't revisit it. I don't think they just say, because of the whatever, that's how we got free.
Yeah. And like
incorporate that.
It's a movie about a demon and exorcisms and stuff. So usually we don't really need to know where the demon came from. We just got to figure out the demon, showed up.
Yeah.
And do exorcism stuff to get him. But
So one other thing I wanted to talk about, like the end of the movie. So Diggins, to your point, right? The movie just ends with like a bunch of pew-pews as they just like shoot lasers at the demon and make him go away.
They shoot lasers at the evil women demons trying to tempt our good guy priests. You can't trust those evil naked women.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I do appreciate that. Prior to that, when like we're starting the like exorcism, it seems like our guy has no fucking plan. Like it devolves to, well, just possess me and we'll work it out like later. Like there's no sense of plan going in. Like I thought he had one, but he definitely doesn't.
Oh, you're talking about the ending exorcism with Russell Crowe having no plan?
Yeah, he has no fucking plan.
Yeah, I guess like I was confused about this with the other priest too. As far as having no plan, yeah, he's probably not very good at this, but I think, does he figure out in the exorcism that the kid or that the demon just hates him, or does he have that before?
He knows that because at some point, so when they go down to the crypt and they find the bones of like the greatest exorcist ever, it's like, oh, he possessed this guy and they had to lock him in a cage, but like he wants a good exorcist. So I think, and when the Spanish said was like, oh, he said wrong fucking priest, like Asmodeus knows he wants Father Gabriel because he's the greatest exorcist or whatever.
Because he's the Pope's exorcist.
Right.
That's
and
right.
this guy wants exorcist. This demon wants exorcist. So he could go into the Vatican and then, I don't know, like hell on earth. Like he wants to use his body to get into the Vatican. Not sure why.
I think it would be really funny if it turned out it's just because Asmodeus hasn't been on Earth in like 500 years. And it's like, surely the exorcists are still the most powerful and revered members of the Catholic Church. Everyone loves the exorcists and they have access to all levers of power. And then he gets there and he's like, it is me, the Pope's exorcist. Let me in to decide papal policy. And they're like, what are you talking about, Father Gabriel? You're like an embarrassment.
We all hate you so
we
much.
fired you like last week. Do you not remember that? You're not Pope's exorcist even anymore. We're going to get rid of it. It's all bullshit. You told us it's all bullshit, right?
Santa Maria, I have made a grave mistake.
It's kind of like Dracula's plan in the Renfield movie, where it's just a big circle around the Vatican or something, and then the word power over it. I think, like, if we actually had to get at words for what this is, I mean, he probably used telekinesis or something. He'd probably throw all the popes through an open door. That's how he solves all the rest of his problems.
I mean, I will say the fact that in real life, that up until 2016, there was a position of like chief exorcist of the Vatican is kind of fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Like, that is kind of wild. Was that
like
always a position even before this guy? Was there always a chief exorcist of the Vatican?
Now, here's the thing. I don't think that was his actual title.
Really?
He was just a priest who was known as an exorcist and founded the International Association of Exorcists.
Oh, I see. Okay. So that wasn't an actual title. Okay, good, I guess.
He was an exorcist for the Diocese of Rome.
Okay.
But, like, that's just like any diocese having an exorcist, I think. I don't think it was especially...
I guess that makes me feel slightly better. It's still insane. Do we still have exorcists today? Like, does this organization he founded have, like, active members? Was it like this?
I hope so.
The organization still exists. I mean, it was only founded in 1990, so...
Man, that's an organization that has to be founded in, like, 1272.
Well, I mean,
or, like, the year 50. Like, that has to be...
That's the problem. That's why things were so bad. And then they started getting better in the 90s is because we started getting our, the Exorcist Avengers showed up and started dealing with it.
That's true. The Pope in this movie does say, we did our job too well. We eradicated all evil.
It's weird, too, because, like, he says 2% of the exorcisms are real. I would assume that 2% is kind of this, like a real demon. So, like, do they not believe him? Like, when he says that, are they not like, oh, right, those 15 based on his stats, those 1,000 exorcisms that were actually real exorcisms where those people floated through the air. I do remember seeing that in the news a couple of times. Like, in this universe, there are 2% real exorcisms just happening in the real world. I don't get it. Also, this movie takes place in the 80s. Does The Exorcist exist in this universe? Like the movie with Linda Blair, Is he going around and everybody's like
fucking hate it?
Yeah, or the
like son of a bitch.
That's not real. That's not even the close. I would never jump out a window like that guy. I would do cool shit. I would take out my magic medallion. That's the thing he didn't have. It. What a fool. Because it's weird because they do all the beats from The Exorcist. Like you're saying, like these movies are all super derivative where like the kid has like the eyes and like speaks with a different voice and says a bunch of sex things and like crawls on the ceiling and whatever, spits out blood. The Pope does that, but still, like, I feel like at a certain point you'd be like, oh wow, they really nailed that Exorcist movie because this is exactly what it looked like when they made it 10 years ago. That's crazy. But yeah, I don't know if there's a movie, The Exorcist. I mean, it has to be because this movie ostensibly takes place in our world. This happened as far as the movie is concerned. So
You guys don't
Yeah.
remember this?
I mean, I wasn't alive for it. It's like one of those things where like they say there was a huge game show scandal in the 50s or whatever, and it's like I don't even believe that happened, but it did. You know, I just didn't see it.
Yeah.
You guys ever hear about that? They were like all cheating in the game shows. It's very exciting.
Oh,
There's a big court case where
It's
like
fucked
they
up.
had to. It's why there's like laws about you have to actually do a game show. If you ever say you're going to do a game show and you give everybody all the answers, you like go to jail or something. I don't know how it works, but
that's actually
yeah, it's pretty cool. But like in this movie, like the fucking like the crucifix in the Vatican starts bleeding blood.
yeah.
Like that did that happen a couple of times already? And they're just like they forgot? I don't know.
Well, like people have claimed, I don't know if this is like kind of in the realm, right? But stigmata, where you get like
Oh,
the
sure.
blood coming from your hands and feet, right? Like that is a thing that has been claimed to have happened.
And people love doing all that, like, oh, this is the Holy Mary, you know, in this water thing on my
Yeah.
porch or whatever. So I feel like that's most of this guy's job, honestly.
Yeah.
Except
so,
it looks
did-
like the devil.
Yeah, like did a cross bleed? I don't know, maybe. Probably not, but possibly.
I mean, maybe it really
It's that
does.
thing that statues look like they're crying because of like moisture that builds up.
Yeah.
Right.
Maybe it does in the Pope, like in the Vatican, and that's why they take it so seriously, you know? And they just we won't believe them, but they're like, listen, I know it's bullshit when it happens to you guys, but with us it really cries blood. And that's why we you know do all that nonsense with smoke and whatever. But yeah, it's weird too, because like the demon in this, like we said, like his plan does seem to be if I could cross into the Vatican, like if I can walk into the Vatican, I become ruler of the whole earth or something. But like
I assume if he walked into the Vatican, he would like disintegrate into
Right.
just fucking like holy fire or something, right? Because like the fucking holy stuff does work. It's just that they're in like unhallowed ground or whatever, because it's where the Spanish Inquisition took place. But like,
and it has all the symbols carved
into
into it of like pentagrams
Yeah.
and shit like that.
Yeah, like he would die if he went to the Vatican.
Do you
There's
think
no
in
way
this-
that would work.
In this world where demons are real and everything, that whenever a new person comes to the Vatican, a priest is there to be like, do a quick blessing or a prayer to be like,
Yeah.
to see if they start writhing around and screaming, to be like, oh, another demon trying to sneak in.
Mhm.
There's so many this week. You got to exercise these guys. Also, Diggins, what are you talking about? Demons are real.
Apparently they are,
Right, I'm
because this
sorry.
took
In
place
this
in the real
world.
world. There's a book.
That's
It's
true.
very good. I don't know if you've seen it, but this guy wrote it. I loved that line, by the way, when he's like, yeah, I made a book. It's good. And then the end of the book, and then the movie has that like little card where it's like, look at all his bazillion exorcisms, and his book is real. It is good. It's the last line of this movie. Fabulous.
You think that would make the family love the movie?
Exactly.
Yeah, right?
And we said the book is good. Obviously, the movie is bad.
Yeah, come
but
on now.
yeah, read the book. Yeah, you know what? Actually, out of context, the way it reads is like the whole movie plays, right? And you see the whole movie, they get not serious, but like it takes itself pretty seriously. And then in the end, it says, Father Gabriel Morris continued to serve the afflicted until his death in Rome in 2016 and wrote many books. And then that's like the first bar. And then the last thing is the books are good. But I feel like you could read that as like, the books are good. Not the movie,
Yeah.
but you know, you might enjoy the books. Sorry about this, you know, what we did, but you know, there's other stuff out there.
If you like reading, you're gonna love it.
Yeah. It's like what they should put that at the end of like the Hunger Games book movies or something. Just like, oh, by the way, the books are better. You're not going to really get too much out of these movies that you just watched. What else is weird about this movie? Oh, when the kid scratches words in his chest, right?
Yeah.
What's the first word he does? Do you remember? Is it just like hell or something?
It's
Or like,
pain, right? Pain.
uh,
God, is it hell?
I don't remember, but I do think it's like, I don't know about pain. I think it's more like kind of, honestly, it might be like devil or something.
Yeah.
But whatever it is, as far as we know, he like actually scratched that into his tummy. But then later we see his tummy again and it's different words.
Well, that healed over. That one just
but yeah.
healed. It's
Does
all
the devil
fine.
heal this kid when he's done with it?
It's like a whiteboard, you know. He just rubs his little devil hand over the boy's tummy, and it heals up all the wounds, so he can write more.
Little etch a sketch, little just like shake, 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 shake. All right, let's go again.
That's why he keeps tossing people around, so he can erase the words he wrote on them and write new words.
Oh, okay. I wrote it. I found it. He wrote hate on his chest.
Hate
is the first word. But then,
oh no, not hate.
I know it's bad. And but then when we get to the end, he writes it. It's just not here, and then he lifts his shirt up a little bit more. And the devil is writing this in real time in the movie when the kid does his first like kind of exorcism moment. He scratches his own face with his nails and like does a big scratch. So it makes you assume he scratched hate in there as well. But in this, it like writes itself. And
like in Harry Potter with that pen.
Yes. And it writes, God is not here.
Yo, that was some fucking ahead stop shit. Where like, as you know, hey, as you're driving, it's like stop ahead, but you read it as a head stop because ahead comes first, and that's how you fucking read, not like fucking 20 feet down and then in front of you. That was like this. It was like reading from the bottom up.
Yeah, I think this Diggins really into those popular Star Wars movies of the day. He's got a real Yoda vibe going on. Here not God is, or whatever. Cool. I do think this movie also does really, and I don't want to like hit the movie for this because I think it's awesome, but like in the beginning, it does feel like kind of practical stuff. There's like a weird practical, like face this kid's has, and that kind of continues through the movie. But at a certain point, it does feel like the movie switches from like practical bed grabbing the woman to just like CGI robe picks up the priest and starts strangling him, and like the girl turns into a big CGI monster and starts crawling around on the ceiling. Just that it feels like it's two movies. Like,
yeah.
But also they really react super well to that daughter crawling around on the ceiling. Like she breaks all the bones in her body, turns into a big crab, and they're like, oh! And then she starts crawling onto the ceiling, and they go, oh! Like, and they're not like, run. Actually, it's prepared for this part. They're like, oh no, it's Spider-Man. Oh. Pretty weird. Also, why does tying the kid up work?
Well, the same reason the sedative works.
Yeah.
It's too weak.
His telekinesis.
His little boy body is too weak.
He picks up the priest later by telekinesis and stuff. He keeps throwing people out of the window or out of the door frame.
Powers.
He should use them on himself.
You can't untie rope with telekinesis.
I guess not.
Stupid.
Not a demon can't. I don't. Yeah, I don't know.
It's like a force push pull thing. Like that's your limitations.
Yeah. God.
That is one like a power in movies where they just assume you know the rules, but every movie has different rules for telekinesis.
I mean, I would be so confused if I was a second priest, just trying to figure out what the rules of these demons are, because like, Russell Crowe seems to know them a little bit. Like this other guy barely even knows demons are real, and then has to kind of figure this out along the way. I'd be right there with him.
There's that one line where after the kid bites the second priest's ear, the Spanish priest's ear, and then Russell Crowe's sitting with him, and it's like, hey, you don't get to say pretty in this business. And it's like, Russell Crowe doesn't look bad.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Russell Crowe, no one has bit off any of your body parts.
Maybe they have, and we haven't seen them,
Oh.
Maybe we'll find out.
That would make the celibacy
2.
thing very easy.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, it is weird. This movie's so weird what it thinks demons are and like what they can and can't do. Because it's two people at once. They turn you into Spider-Man, and they can make you into fucking big giant monster man with big giant mouth and stuff. That was really where I think I knew the movie was going to be pretty good. But when Russell Crowe's sitting on that throne with the big, scepter, and then rises into the air, that's pretty cool.
Fucking incredible.
Yeah. It's weird because they give him like black around his eyes, and he does look like the bad guy from Doctor Strange.
Yes.
It's pretty close.
He looks like Mads Mikkelsen.
That's right. Yeah. It's that same like effect. I mean, they, it worked, so keep doing it. But yeah. What else was cool?
I mean, guys, go ahead, Diggins.
So the Pope in this movie is supposed to be the actual Pope John Paul II, right?
I guess so. Yeah.
A famously Polish man.
Do they name him in this? Like,
I don't think they ever explicitly say John Paul II.
Okay, that makes sense then. Because yeah, part of me was like, did they have to get an off-brand pope? Like, where he's like,
We have Pope at home.
exactly, but they have the real him. Yeah, I don't know, but now I wonder, like, what would the Pope of today like do? Because obviously the Pope's the Pope. He's got to, do all the rest of this stuff. Do they all like think there's exorcisms to do? Or would like the current Pope be like, yeah, I mean, the exorcism part's not real. The rest of it's real, but not the exorcisms.
I feel like a large portion of the priests don't believe in actual demons actually possessing people anymore.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's one of those things where it's like, it's still technically church policy, so you're not allowed to say that.
That makes sense.
But then who knows what's in the heart of a Catholic priest?
Well,
facts.
It is weird that they do bring the Catholic priest scandal into this.
Yes. Yeah. Agreed.
But in this universe, then, because when did that even take place?
I mean, it took place over the course of many decades.
Sure, but when did
you mean the actual scandal of people finding out?
People found out about it in like the early 2000s, late 90s, right? Did these guys all know about it? Because they're all reading like the emails that are like, by the way, don't tell anybody about our priest scandal.
Yeah,
I think
real bad.
I think it's one of those things where, like the Bill Cosby stuff, where it's like, it's one of those things that people did kind of know about for like a while, but it didn't like fully blow up and become a huge thing until the late 1990s, like you're saying.
That makes sense.
Or early 90s, actually. I'm looking up the thing.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it was like, it's something that I remember hearing about, but I feel like any news that happened before I was like 10 or something, all could have happened at any point in my life. Like, if I don't have a year for it, who knows? I heard about it on like Saturday Night Live once or twice and then tucked it away forever. But yeah, this guy, speaking of that, it is a really sexual movie. Like,
yeah, oh my gosh.
It's the horniest exorcism movie I've seen this year for sure. But like, I was not expecting the bit where the fully naked blood woman walks out of the thing.
That was wild. That was fucking wild.
Yeah.
So
Let
weird.
me get on my knees so you can forgive me my sins, Father. Like,
oh my God, yeah. Oh yeah. Remember the fucking, because when he goes down to the evil pit of whatever, like in the beginning, it seems like the Virgin Mary is ascending from the evil pit or whatever. And then she, for fun, turns into, the exorcism, like ring woman. That part's pretty weird.
It's just Asmodeus fucking with them.
Yeah. And I respect that. Like,
for a second, I did think like, oh my God, is this movie going to end with an actual Deus Ex Machina?
I think I would have bought it. I would have enjoyed it. I mean, I liked how this ended.
In a movie about priests and exorcisms and such, I would be like, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
That God's like, Russell Crowe, you're so cool and virtuous that I will save you from this demon.
Also, now that I think about it, this guy's sin about like what he did with this woman, not Gabriel, the other one. What was the ending of it? Did she die?
I don't really say. I guess she just kind of got fed up.
Because he's not that old.
Not stopping being a priest.
This woman in this scene is probably about as old as he is. Is this her? Did the devil like steal her for this bit, or did it find a lookalike?
I think it's just hallucinations and like devil magic. I don't think she's really there.
Yeah. The whole covered in blood thing makes it seem like she's like died, but I don't remember if that actually happened.
I think the covered in blood thing is just so she's spookier.
It's pretty spooky.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no reason for it.
When I see a naked woman, I'm like, awooga, hot.
That's
but
right.
when she's covered in blood, I'm like, oh no, spooky.
Oh God, that's too spoopy.
They didn't want you to get confused and think it was supposed to be hot, so they covered her in blood so you would know it was spooky.
It feels right. God, yeah, this movie's weird. Where do you go with the sequel to this?
Oh God.
Devil number 2 of 200.
Right? Do they have to like go get like Satan?
I hope he assembles his Pope's Exorcist squad. I
need that to happen. I need it to happen.
I mean, that feels like something that would happen. And he has like you're saying, there is a group that seems to exist. So we got to look into them and see what their deal is. If they are kind of like this fun little, like Captain Planet, like everybody's a little different from a different place and has specialties with different demons, and they can do a real big exorcism. But who else could even exorcise? Like the president? What else would be more interesting?
Yes, exorcise the American president.
Oh my God, yeah. Could it be Bill Clinton for all his various scandals? We've learned that is actually the devil.
Oh, Mr. President, we have determined that you keep getting your dick sucked
Yeah.
because of the devil inside you.
He did keep telling me he was going to do this the last time I was doing a big exorcism. He really went out of his way to make that a part of it. So this does actually feel like what he would do. His favorite thing. Did I mean we is this movie woke?
No. It's so religious it can't be woke. It just can't.
Yeah, it's all about the good and heroic Catholic priests, right?
Yeah, I guess that's
not
true.
that Catholicism is inherently like not woke, but kind of.
It's getting less woke, it seems like, but also it's one of the woker versions of Christianity. Or not less woke. It's one of the more whatever the
other
word for
versions
that
of
is.
Christianity are more woke.
Yeah.
Catholicism is, and the other ones you get like women priests and shit. Like
right, and married priests like this movie wants. This guy should convert, honestly. Like, just go be Anglican or something. They'll let you in, and you can marry this blood woman. It's gonna be great. You're having a great time.
But I feel like once you see the demon Asmodeus, who's like, I want to infiltrate the Vatican so I can take over the Pope and destroy God, I'd be like, I guess Catholicism's real. I guess. Like, it's hard to deny now.
This is the right one.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any way this movie could be woke. I don't even have a woke counterpoint. Like,
I mean, it has naked ladies in it, and
does that make it woke?
Well, it certainly makes it not fit for good Christian young men who need to avert their gazes into their girlfriend's shoulders to avoid seeing the sinfully naked ladies.
And what's weird is it's not a father stew. Actually, here's the argument for woke. It's not billing himself as like the good, kind-hearted, like religious hero story, like a father stew. It's like like exorcism isn't, it's more of like a psychological thing. And actually it's, I'm doing little tricks and stuff. And like, I come up, like once you hit the demon though, it just can't be woke anymore. Like the first half hour can be woke.
Once you're slamming holy talismans of the Catholic Church into a demon's forehead and he explodes, I feel like we've crossed that bridge.
I guess I could see a less woke version of this where
yes.
Yeah, Father Gabriel in this first, exorcism. I forgot the word. He's like, you gotta pull yourself up by your bootstraps. There's no reason to go to therapy. Just take yourself very, be a man, all right? Stop complaining. This generation always complaining. What's kind of woke? Italian Vespa man. That's kind of woke.
It's true. Yeah. He's on a Vespa.
He's not driving a motorcycle like he should be.
Yeah. I guess if woke is a spectrum, this is like not the most unwoke thing ever.
Right, but as we've discussed, something does not have to be anti-woke to be woke.
That's true. But also, you know why it's not woke? It didn't go broke.
That's true.
It killed it. So,
but the Catholic Church didn't like the movie. That kind of makes it a little woke.
Oh my God, is this movie woke?
Like,
no. I'm with Diggins. It's slamming crucifixes into demons' foreheads.
Yeah.
It cannot be woke at that point.
It also helps that like science doesn't solve the problem, that they do like an MRI and they're like, well, there's no way that a science could ever fix this. Things are better than science, do your own research, go find a pope.
That's another version of this movie where there's like, it'd be a fun like push and pull between like a science doctor and a priest. There's like a Dr. House who's like, I'm gonna find the fucking thing that's wrong with this. Like that's a movie.
Yeah, and also maybe that's the next one. Maybe it's the president is sick or something, and then he has to work with a real doctor to cure the president's what turns out to be demon. That
I feel like the next movie, it's called The Pope's Exorcist. He has to exorcise the Pope, right?
Like Yeah, kind of, right? It's weird because he's the Pope's exorcist, but that doesn't mean he would exorcise. He would exorcise the Pope. But when you read that, you're like, that could mean you are the exorcist that works for the Pope or the exorcist that works on the Pope.
Yes. And actually, when I knew nothing about this movie, I thought it was the latter.
Me too.
I thought it was a dude who had to exorcise the Pope.
Yeah. So yeah, maybe that is what they're building towards. Do you do the title thing like the Hitman's Bodyguard, where it's like the Pope's exorcist's this?
Ooh.
You know, Pope's exorcist's best friend, gardener, or something. Just keep going down the line. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta go somewhere with this shit.
I mean, this one was already technically the Pope's exorcist's exorcist.
That's true. Yeah, it's weird because like the other problem, well, that's what you could do. You could do a prequel, do the ones because that's what they do with those Conjuring movies, which are kind of this. I feel like they love to do like, you know, the La Llorona or the Doll or whatever. I think those might be different franchises, but like they love prequels.
I gotta find out where that creepy doll came from.
Yeah, like I think we could do an Inquisition version of this where someone, you know, heroically seals away this guy in a big basement. And it'd be expensive because they'd have to do costumes and stuff, but I think they could pull it off. Oh, you know what else is weird? I looked this up because I was curious about like movie mistakes because I kind of wanted to see this Dragon Age thing. They didn't have this, but apparently there's a bunch of other anachronisms in this movie where like there's stickers in cars that say like 2022, the year we're in. And that's pretty fun. That this is a period piece, but also it's like you could just set this in the present day. Nothing's stopping them. It's barely real, but maybe they wouldn't be allowed.
Incredible.
Yeah. I think I wouldn't say people should watch it, but if they do, they'll have fun. Do you guys want to get to our classic segment?
Let's do it.
I would love that.
All right. DJ, would you like to recommend something to fine people?
Yep. So this is another light weed for me. I just got like a lot of stuff going on. So, but I'm here with recommendations. Don't worry, folks. I was like, you know what? I went on a lovely, my wife and I, we went on a lovely getaway this weekend. Just us away from the baby. It was very nice. That's just
you left the baby at home by himself with like a bowl full of food.
No, with the dog. The dog took care of him. We're not monsters.
That makes sense.
Come on now. But okay, so I just want to let you guys know I am going to recommend a YouTube channel, and by the rules of this podcast, that means you have to subscribe to our YouTube page, mostly nitpicking. You have to watch like 5 Nando movies videos, and then like 6 Nando cut videos, and then you gotta subscribe to 3 months of Nebula.
That's right, and you have to watch the trailer for the Pope's Exorcist at least once or twice.
All of these are rules. So after you do all of those things, then you can go to a YouTube page called That's Good Sports. It's run by a guy called Brendan Perna. Have you ever seen this one, Nando? Has this ever come across your feed?
I think so, but I'm like the name is super familiar. I might just follow him on Twitter, but also I do think I'd have to, let me see. Are the videos like an hour and a half long?
No, I like his because they like go to like 20. He has a podcast. He has like a video podcast he does that's in the like hour-ish range. Which like, come on, beef up those numbers, buddy.
Right.
Our podcast. What are you doing? Although, did you guys see that someone was saying our podcasts are becoming shorter? Because now they're only like 2.5 hours instead of like 3.
Maybe that's true. That
so someone said it's because I have a child now. They're like, that's why they're all shorter. Like, I don't know.
The movies need to be more interesting. Maybe that would help.
I did look back and I'm like, when was the last time we did a 3-hour one? And I like Barbenheimer, I think was close.
I want to mention this because before I forget, the Barbenheimer of this, because I looked this up, what other movie came out that you could kind of match this with? The Mafia Mama's Exorcist would be the Barbenheimer of this.
Yeah.
There's
the crossover America needs.
Yeah. But anyway, so this guy does videos and podcasts.
Yeah. So, so he's a Broncos fan, and the reason I'm recommending him now is because, like toward the end of last season, the Broncos were really bad. Now the Broncos are really, really bad. It makes for like that kind of good, like Nando, you'd appreciate this if you have like a team that's good, and then like you're watching like a fan just like be sad, like maybe some Jets fans in your life right now. Like it's kind of fun. But he's like legitimately good videos. He covers the whole league, not just Broncos stuff. But like when the Broncos have like a really bad game, he like goes in depth in that game, and it's so good. It's so good. I hope the Broncos keep losing. They play the Dolphins on Sunday, so I hope they keep losing because the videos are so good. But yeah, That's Good Sports. You have to do all the other things I said before you watch that, but I like his content. I think he does good stuff, so I want to recommend that. And then also just a note on our survivor pool, we started with 100. We are down to 51, which is still pretty good.
Yeah.
3 weeks in, down half, but that's probably a strong half. So see how it goes. But yeah, I think this could go pretty deep this season. So we'll see how it goes. But we're still strong with the eliminator pool. Diggins, what would you like to recommend, good sir?
Well, I had a little trouble with this at first because I've done very little besides play Baldur's Gate 3.
Hell yeah.
Since last time we spoke.
And Act 3 is so long, it takes you 50 hours just to do Act 3.
And it's possible I started a second playthrough after I finished the game.
Nice. And then another co-op one that we're doing.
Yeah, and then I'm already thinking about doing a third playthrough when I'm done with this one.
So Baldur's Gate 3 is your recommendation?
No, I did think of something new that I could recommend that I also did this week, which is there's relatively recently, there finally came out the full collection for a comic that I like called Giant Days. It's a Boom Studios comic by John Allison. It's about these three British girls at, as they would say, university. And it's just sort of classic coming of age sort of thing of them going through college and growing up, etc. But it's got a very kind of I don't want to say whimsical because I feel like at this point that has negative connotations to it, but also whimsical does feel like the best word. It has a very whimsical sense of humor to it that I really enjoy. It's actually a spin-off of a webcomic. Not that that's important. The backstory never comes up or matters, so you really don't need to know anything going in.
No, I buy it because I looked at the art just now. I Googled it and I was like, this seems like it was a webcomic before. And I was going to ask that. So not that that's a bad thing, but it has a style.
The comic art actually is, in the webcomic, John Allison did the art as well as the writing. In the Boom Studios comic, they have different artists that are not John Allison. So it actually didn't look like that as a webcomic.
Huh.
But yeah, no, it's very charming. It's very funny. And I have really enjoyed finally getting to finish it. Now that it's all collected together. So yeah, that's my rec. You can now get the full collection of Giant Days. If that is something you would be interested in, I certainly recommend it. What about you, Nando? Do you have anything to recommend?
I do have a couple things. The first is a show. Let's start with this one. I'm not super I'm 50-50 on it. I need to see where it goes, but I'm watching that show The Other Black Girl on Hulu. That's got a vibe that's very Get Out, but what about the office setting? I know it's based on a book, but if you've seen a trailer for it, you kind of know what I'm talking about. I'm halfway through. I like it, but I'm not in love with it. I need to see where it's going. So I'm curious about that. I have been watching that, obviously. I would have watched Bill Maher, but he didn't come back. Also, I don't think he was supposed to come back on Friday anyway. I didn't know this. He was he's currently touring. So, get away from him if you're in Atlantic City or something. You don't want to see that Bill Maher tour, but he's out there. So
wait,
it's just,
if he's touring, who's writing for him? Is he got a secret scab writer?
I wonder if stand-up comedy in stuff like that, it's like a play, right? I feel like it's probably got the same rules.
It doesn't count as struck work because there's a lot of these guys doing stand-up comedy tours.
Yeah.
I just mean from the perspective of there is no way he's doing all that work by himself. He's got to have a team of guys.
Have you ever seen his stand-up?
It
might just be him, It's
no.
Yeah, it's I've watched at least one of his more recent specials just because I was curious, and man, it is what it is.
Okay.
But yeah, so there's that. Bunch of comics came out this week. I tweeted about them. So there's a more in-depth version of this, but basically there's a Werewolf by Night one-shot that should be an ongoing series because it's great. There is a new Daredevil series out by I can't remember. I want to say Al Ewing, but that might be wrong. Raphael Grandpa did a new Batman series called Gargoyle of Gotham. It's very cool. It's part of DC's Black Label. And then I talked about that Alternates book that I really like. That had its first issue came out this week. So there's a lot of good comics. But then the two things that I do feel pretty confident recommending. One, I watched the whole season of that show. Well, actually three. One, I watched the whole season of that show DJ recommended before, The Ultimatum. I do think it ends the ending is not as fun as I had hoped, but the beginning stuff's great.
Yeah. I never called you about that, did I?
No, but it's one of those things.
At some point.
Yeah, and I honestly forgot a lot of their names because it's been like a week. But they like to be in the beginning when these people are arguing with each other. It's like some of them are real weirdos. I can never decide who's, and there doesn't have to be a good guy. They can all be, weird. But at certain points, I'm like, oh, that person's right. It's like Rashomon. I just never know who is actually the real villain or like what version of this I'm seeing. But it's something.
Yeah.
I also started watching this week. I got addicted to clips on YouTube of that show Taskmaster. Do either of you guys watch this?
No, but I know of it.
What's going on? Because I also did a Taskmaster deep dive this week, and I was gonna recommend it, but I'm like, no, I'm not gonna do that. What's
I don't
going
know
on right now?
Maybe there's a new season of it. It definitely is having a moment. I've watched them before, like casually. I've seen certain clips that will, get circulated, like the one where that guy threw the potato into the hole. I remember I'd seen that a year ago, whenever. But this week, yeah, I've just started watching all of them, and I mean, they're great. It's a very fun show where these largely comedians and like kind of public people, in usually British people, but some of the ones on the British version are like Irish, some of them are American, which I find very strange. But they just have to do weird tasks that they find out about on the day, and sometimes they're like kind of clever in a sense. Like it's like, I mean, there's always some kind of clever way you can solve them, but it's usually just like, eat this egg without touching this thing. And you watch these 5 people do it, and they edit it, and it's really funny. It's maybe the most addicting show I've ever seen. I would recommend anybody give it a shot, but also it may eat up your whole day. But
yeah. You can go down a rabbit hole real fast. They're so good.
And then the thing that I really want to recommend is a movie I watched this weekend. It is on Hulu now, I believe. It's a post. Yeah, I mean, thematically, no, not very similar, but there's probably something. I watched the movie Theater Camp this week. Have either of you seen it?
That movie I recommended a few weeks ago?
Did you recommend it? Okay.
He did.
I couldn't remember. So it just came on VOD, or not, well, like Hulu. It may have been on VOD before, but yeah, I loved it. I think it is super funny, and I think theater kids are the funniest people on earth. There's never been a group more fun to mock, in one of those loving ways where you're like, oh, but they actually like being theater kids. And it's like, sure. But also the theater kids are so funny. And just the way the movie works, it has a lot of different like things. It makes you like Ben Platt, which is fascinating. And maybe not like him, but like appreciate him.
I feel like one of the movie's greatest strengths is that I don't have to like Ben Platt.
Well, that's fair, yeah. But I guess it makes you go like, oh, is he cool? Is he in on it? Like, what's going on with him? But even the rest of it, I will say, I knew who was in this cast. I knew, like the fireman from Modern Family, who I love, is the son. I was very excited for him. Molly Gordon, who I've watched, like I've recommended the movie Good Boys to anybody that will listen. Very funny in that and stuff, and like in The Bear this season. And then I knew this was one of the Summer of AO movies where but like she's barely in this movie. I don't know what.
Yeah, she's really not a big part of it. I don't know why they cast her.
Me neither, except for I guess her and Molly Gordon are friends from Bear, and it was like, you want to be in this movie? And it's like, sure. It feels like one of those kind of things. And she's funny in it. I like her, but I do go through the whole casting like, I love them. They were so good. And I'm like, oh, right. She was in the movie. That's surprising. But like, yeah, it's super funny. And I think it's good because it is always trying to be funny. Like even in the sincere moments, it's also making some sort of really, really goofy joke. So I recommend it to anybody, but especially people who have some sort of connection to theater kids, because you'll have a good time with it. What are we doing next week?
Fucking Expendables 4. Let's go.
A movie that comes out in like a couple of hours and still has no Rotten Tomatoes score. I checked this while we were going, so
yeah.
I am concerned, but that will make for a great episode, I'm sure. But
cannot wait.
I kind of expected by now we'd know if people liked it or not. But
also, Rotten Tomatoes is a lie, so
that's true. Rotten Tomatoes is a lie. Yeah, you can game that system however you want. But yeah, Expendables 4 next week. DJ, do you have anything to plug for the fine people?
We'll have we skipped a week for Roses and Rejections just because of like Pop Break scheduling, but we'll be back next week with a preview episode for Golden Bachelor and talk some Love is Blind season 4 stuff. You should all check out though the Pop Break anime podcast, as Michelle made an appearance talking Bleach and Jujutsu Kaisen season 2. So you should all check that out. That's all I got.
Cool. Diggins, do you have anything to plug?
Nope. What about you, Nando?
I don't have any new videos, I think, that have come out since last time, and I don't know when the next one will release. I'm working on them. But so, you know, I guess keep an eye out on my YouTube stuff, but so far nothing that I will commit to. And you know, we'll see. Probably by next week there'll be something. So until then, for Expendables 4 and stuff, I've been at Nando V Movies on Twitter.
I'm at Zippy by Day.
I'm at This Is an Odd Name.
Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye.
Bye.